Hey, sleepy friend. Sleepy Toons loves you. Subscribe and send the love back. After all your warm love on our classic cartoon videos, Sleepy Toons is here again with another gentle dream from a world we all miss. A world where pink fur glows under the moonlight, and even fear can feel soft. Tonight, we visit nowhere. We listen to the heart of Courage, the little dog who loves you more than you'll ever know. But before we begin, just tell me, where are you watching from and what time is it? I would love to know how far this cozy fam goes. Okay, now let's start the stories. So pull your pillow close. Wrap yourself in a quiet blanket. Let your eyes grow heavy. Listen to Sleepy Toons. And sleep. The first story begins under a wide and whispering sky. The wind drifts across the empty plains of nowhere. It hums against the old farmhouse, the woods sighing with age. Out beyond the fields, the sand rolls like an ocean that forgot its water. And there, by the crooked front door, a tiny pink dog sits Courage. His ears twitch to the sound of the night, soft and strange, and he tilts his head towards the stars. He isn't scared tonight. Not really. Not with you listening. He feels your heartbeat somewhere out there, steady and kind, and it makes his own little heart slow down. Courage lets out a sigh, a tiny puff of air, and curls into a small pink ball beside the rocking chair where Muriel sometimes sits. Inside the house, a lamp hums faintly. The clock ticks. Everything smells like warmth, old wood, clean sheets, and a hint of Muriel's tea. Eustace snores somewhere in the background, his hat tipped over his face. The snore rises and falls like an old tractor trying to remember work. Courage chuckles quietly, though no sound escapes him. He just smiles, eyes half closed. The floor creaks. The wind knocks once, twice against the window. Courage looks up, blinking. The wind sounds different tonight, not scary, not warning him, but calling softly, like a lullaby sung by the desert itself. He pads to the window and presses his little paw against the cold glass. Outside, the moon hangs low and golden, and the sand glows silver. Somewhere far off, a tumbleweed drifts lazily, caught in the same half-dream Courage feels himself in. He remembers all the nights when monsters came to nowhere, the shadows, the ghosts, the voices from nowhere at all, but he also remembers how every time, no matter how frightened he was, he found a way. He always found a way. Tonight, he whispers to the wind. I'm not scared, not tonight. And the wind answers him, or maybe it's just his imagination, with a voice as soft as sleep. You are brave, little one. You always were. He smiles again, eyes glimmering. Courage turns and curls up by the window, paws tucked beneath his chin. The moonlight strokes his fur, and the warmth of the house seeps through the floorboards, wrapping around him like a slow, sleepy hug. Muriel's footsteps creak from the kitchen. She hums an old Scottish tune as she pours herself a cup of chamomile. Courage's ears lift slightly. He loves that sound. The song is so gentle it almost melts into the night. She walks into the living room, spots Courage by the window, and smiles that smile that makes everything okay. Oh, my sweet little dog, she whispers, setting her tea down. You're still awake? Courage wiggles his tail just once, soft, slow, sleepy. Muriel bends down, picks him up, and carries him to her chair. She settles in, and Courage snuggles against her lap, the rhythm of her breathing syncing with his. Outside, the wind hushes. The stars blink slower, dimmer, like eyelids growing heavy. Muriel's hand strokes his fur. Everything's fine, Courage. You're safe, my dear. Safe. The word settles in his heart like a blanket. closes his eyes, but he doesn't fall asleep yet. He just listens to the sound of Muriel's heart, to the clock ticking softly on the mantel, to the hum of the desert beyond the walls. It's a lonely sound, but tonight it doesn't feel empty. It feels full of peace, of love, of memories. He remembers the first time Muriel found him, a tiny pup trembling in a cardboard box. The sky was gray that day. Rain was falling and thunder made the earth shake. But then, there she was, smiling, gentle, warm. "Poor little thing," she had said. "You're all alone, aren't you?" He wasn't alone anymore. Not then. Not ever again. Now, as courage lies in our lap, he thinks maybe no one is ever truly alone. Not if they can be brave, even when they're scared. Not if they can love, even when the world feels big and strange. The clock ticks on. Tick, tick, tick. Courage drifts somewhere between awake and asleep. The house breathes with him. The wood creaks in time. The wind outside sighs in long, slow patterns, brushing the old fence and whispering through the grass that grows thin and tired near the porch. The moon shifts higher and the stars hum faintly. Maybe it's just the crickets, or maybe it's something else. In nowhere, sounds are never what they seem, but tonight, everything is gentle. Courage dreams of walking under the moonlight, his paws leaving little prints in the dust. He walks toward the horizon where the sand meets the stars. Each step feels softer than the last. He hears laughter somewhere, Muriel's far away, warm and clear. And another sound, maybe it's you. He turns, and in his dream he sees a glow in the sky, faint but comforting. He doesn't know it's the world beyond nowhere, your world, but he feels the warmth from it, and it makes his little heart beat brighter. You're there, you're listening, you care. He wants to tell you something, but in dreams words don't work the same way. They're softer, slower, like ripples in water. So instead, courage sends a feeling, a simple one. Thank you. The dream deepens. The wind carries him further, gently now, like a cradle rocking back and forth. He walks past the old windmill, its blades turning lazily. The creak of it sounds almost like a lullaby. The stars above are brighter here, big and golden, like the eyes of the night itself watching over him kindly. He looks up, and for a moment he doesn't feel small. He feels infinite. Then softly he hears Muriel's voice again. "Time to come home, my sweet." Courage turns round, and there's the farmhouse, glowing faintly against the horizon. He walks back slowly, through the quiet dust, tail swaying lazily behind him. As he reaches the porch, he looks once more at the stars, whispering to them, almost like he's whispering to you. "Good night, sleepy friend." And then he goes inside. Muriel's chair rocks slowly. The clock ticks softer now. The kettle hums one last low note. Courage climbs back into his spot by the window, curling into a tiny pink crescent. His breathing slows. The wind outside falls still. All is calm in nowhere. All is safe. And courage loves you completely, quietly, forever. The night deepens over nowhere. The stars drift behind a veil of cloud, slow and sleepy. The air grows heavier, thick with the scent of rain. Inside the farmhouse, everything is still Muriel asleep in her chair, Eustace snoring somewhere in the shadows, and Courage curled at the foot of the bed, lost in a dream that feels like a memory. In his dream, the wind begins to hum again. Not the cold kind, not the kind that howls and warns, but the kind that sings softly, like a mother humming from another room. It moves through the grass, bends the tall stalks, and whispers through the old barn behind the house. Courage opens his eyes within the dream and finds himself standing in the field. The earth beneath his paws feels warm. The sky glows faintly purple, filled with clouds that move like waves. Thunder grumbles somewhere far away, but it isn't angry. It's slow and drowsy, like a giant turning over in its sleep. Courage looks up. A single raindrop falls on his nose. It's cool and light, and it makes him giggle a tiny sound that no one hears, but that makes the world a little softer. Another drop follows and another until the rain becomes a steady whisper all around him. He walks forward through the field. Each blade of grass bends under the soft touch of water, and the earth smells fresh, like the first breath of morning. His fur glistens in the moonlight that seeps through the clouds. He doesn't shiver. He doesn't run. He just walks, slowly, letting the rain wash over him. In the distance, he sees the windmill turning. The blades creak gently, one after another, singing in rhythm with the falling rain. It sounds like a lullaby only nowhere could make. He remembers all the times the windmill turned faster when strange things came to nowhere, when the air filled with whispers and eyes appeared in the dark. But tonight, everything is calm. The world isn't warning him. It's welcoming him. Courage pauses near the windmill, staring up at its wooden frame. The rain runs down his face, into his fur, down to his little paws. He closes his eyes and listens. The windmill speaks, not in words, but in sound soft, patient, and ancient. It tells him stories of the land, of all the quiet nights before him, of the hands that built it long ago. The rain grows thicker now, falling in silver lines. But instead of fear, Courage feels peace. He lifts his head, lets the raindrops touch his eyelids, and smiles. It feels like the sky is petting him, reminding him that even storms can be gentle. He starts walking back toward the farmhouse. The windows glow faintly in the distance, warm and golden. The puddles on the ground reflect that same light, like tiny mirrors holding pieces of home. As he walks, he hums just a little tune he once heard Muriel sing. The sound mingles with the rain, soft and pure. He passes by the old truck, rusting near the barn. The raindrops drum on its hood, making a steady rhythm. Courage places a paw on it, and for a second, he feels like the truck hums back, like it remembers him. Remembers all the days they've had, strange, frightening, wonderful days. He reaches the porch and shakes himself off. The door creaks open on its own just a little, and he steps inside. The house is dark except for the faint glow from the lamp in the corner. Muriel's chair rocks slightly, though she's asleep, her knitting still on her lap. Courage pads across the wooden floor, his tiny claws tapping softly. He climbs up beside her and looks at her face, peaceful, kind. He rests his head on her arm, feeling the steady warmth of her skin. Outside, the storm hums quietly, rain against the window, thunder far away. The house creaks once, then settles again. It feels alive, breathing, watching, keeping them safe. Courage closes his eyes. He listens to the rain. It sounds like 1,000 soft voices telling him to rest. You've done enough, little one. You've been brave. You can rest now. He sighs, curling tighter into himself. His breathing slows. The warmth from Muriel's lap seeps into his fur, deep into his chest. He feels her heartbeat, steady and strong, matching the rhythm of the rain outside. For a moment he dreams within the dream. He's a tiny pup again, lying in that same cardboard box, rain pouring all around him. But this time, the rain doesn't scare him, because he knows he remembers that soon she'll come. Muriel, with her soft eyes and her gentle voice. Come here, my dear, she says again in his memory. You're safe now. And he is. Always will be. The rain slows. The thunder fades into a sleepy rumble far away. The clouds begin to drift apart, showing faint stars behind them. The air smells clean, new. Courage stirs in his sleep, just a twitch of his paw, as if chasing something happy in his dream. Maybe he's running through fields again, or maybe he's just running toward someone he loves. The old farmhouse hums softly, a tune only it knows. The wooden beams whisper. The wind slides through the cracks with a sigh that sounds like a lullaby. Somewhere between thunder and dawn, Courage's dream begins to shift again from the field to the sky. He's floating now, soft and weightless, through a sea of clouds tinted lavender. Below him, nowhere stretches endlessly, calm and glowing. He isn't afraid of falling. The sky itself seems to hold him, to cradle him as if saying, "It's okay. You've always been safe here." He looks down and he can see Muriel's house below, tiny, still golden in the night. He can even see you somehow, far away, smiling as you listen. It makes his heart flutter. He whispers again, but only the clouds hear it. "I love you, sleepy friend." And the clouds echo softly back. "We know." Courage smiles. His eyes close. The world fades into soft white. The rain has stopped. The windmill turns once more, slow and sure. The dawn begins to peek over the horizon, brushing nowhere in a faint pink light that matches his fur. Courage sleeps deeper than before, floating through warmth, surrounded by love. All is still. All is home. And nowhere is peaceful again. The first light of dawn drifts gently across nowhere. It touches the roof of the farmhouse, slides down the wooden boards, and spills softly through the curtains. Inside, the air feels warm and quiet. The storm is long gone, leaving behind the scent of wet earth and tea leaves. Courage stirs beneath a patch of sunlight. His ears twitch first, then his tail moves just a little. He blinks open his eyes, soft and sleepy, and looks around. Everything glows in that pale morning way, calm, gold, and forgiving. Muriel is still asleep in her chair, her knitting fallen to her lap. Her glasses tilt slightly, catching a streak of sunlight. Courage smiles at her, his tiny heart full. He loves her so much it almost aches, but in a good way, the kind of ache that means you found home. He stretches slowly, one paw at a time, and hops down from the chair. His paws make little tapping sounds on the wooden floor. Eustace is still snoring somewhere, his snore like a broken engine trying to start, but Courage doesn't mind. The sound means everything is normal. Everything is right. He pads to the window and looks out. The land of nowhere glows gold and pink. The puddles from last night's rain reflect the rising sun, shimmering like tiny mirrors of light. The windmill turns lazily, each creak a slow heartbeat. Far beyond, a lone crow flies by, its wings cutting through the morning air. Courage presses his paw to the glass again. The world looks quiet, peaceful, endless. For a moment, he feels the same way, endless even though he's small. He closes his eyes and breathes in. The air smells clean, full of dust and sunlight and new beginnings. He walks to the kitchen. The floorboards creak beneath his paws. He nudges open the door and finds the kettle sitting still on the stove. The light from the window spills across the counter, painting long stripes on the walls. Courage hops onto a chair and looks out again. The horizon stretches forever, all soft, yellow, and white. He thinks of all the nights before, all the times fear tried to find him. The shadows, the strange visitors, the whispers that came when the wind blew too cold. He remembers being scared, trembling, trying to protect Muriel even when his heart beat too fast to think. But right now, sitting in the soft morning light, he realizes something. Fear never truly won. Love did. It always did. He hears a small sigh behind him. Muriel is waking up. She stretches, rubs her eyes, and smiles when she sees him watching her. "Good morning, my dear," she says in her warm, gentle way. Courage wags his tail, just once, but enough for her to see it sparkle in the light. She pours herself a cup of tea, hums a tune, and opens the window just a little. The breeze drifts in, cool and sweet. "Such a lovely morning," she whispers. "Everything feels new after a storm." Courage tilts his head as if he understands. Maybe he really does. Because storms aren't forever. They pass, and when they do, they leave the air softer, the heart lighter. Muriel sits by the table. The sunlight catches the steam from her cup, making it glow like gold. She pats the seat beside her, and Courage hops up. She strokes his head, slow and kind. "You were such a brave little thing last night," she says, smiling. Courage makes a quiet sound, somewhere between a sigh and a giggle. He isn't sure if she knows what he dreams of, or if she hears his thoughts when he whispers to the night, but somehow it feels like she does. Muriel hums her tune again, the same one she hummed before the rain, and Courage leans against her arm. The melody moves like the morning light itself, soft, steady, endless. Outside, the fields shimmer. The wind carries the smell of wet grass and wildflowers. Somewhere, the faint sound of a tractor hums in the distance, slow and lazy. Courage's eyes grow heavy again, even though it's morning. The warmth, the rhythm, the calm, they pull him back toward that quiet place between awake and asleep. He thinks of the windmill again, of how it turned through the rain. He imagines climbing to the very top, feeling the wind on his face, looking out over all of nowhere. From up there, he could see everything: the farmhouse, the hills, the endless sky. He could even imagine seeing you somewhere beyond the horizon. He smiles at the thought. He knows you're out there. He can feel it. The same warmth that keeps him safe at night feels like your heart, steady and kind, listening to him even now. He whispers, so softly that even the wind barely hears him. "I hope you slept well, sleepy friend." Muriel looks down at him, smiling. "What's that, dear?" Courage looks up, blinking, tail wagging just once. She laughs, her voice bright and kind, and the sound fills the whole house. "Oh, you're just the sweetest little thing." He isn't sure what she heard, maybe nothing, maybe everything. But that's okay. Love doesn't always need words. Sometimes it's just warmth or a sigh, or a look between two hearts that already understand. He drifts again, head resting on Muriel's arm, her hum surrounding him like the softest blanket. The house breathes around them, wood expanding, floor creaking, tea cooling. Everything feels alive in the gentlest way. Outside, the day begins. The light grows stronger but still calm. The windmill turns steady and slow. The crows fly higher, their calls fading into the distance. Courage's breathing evens out. His eyes flutter once, twice, then close completely. The sunlight rests on his fur like a blessing. The farmhouse, the fields, the endless sky, all of nowhere seems to exhale. The storm has passed. Love remains. And Courage, the little pink dog who's always been afraid of everything, drifts deeper into another peaceful dream, the kind of dream that doesn't need to end. Because when the world outside feels too big or too loud, there's always this place. This quiet, golden morning in nowhere. And there's always Courage loving you, guarding you, whispering that everything will be okay, always. The hours slip by like sunlight over quiet hills. Nowhere has turned soft again. The morning gold has faded into a pale, gentle afternoon. The air outside hums with warmth. The wind carries the smell of rain-soaked earth mixed with the sweetness of blooming wildflowers. Courage lies under the old tree near the porch, the same spot where he sometimes watches clouds pass. His paws are tucked beneath him, his chin resting lightly on the ground. The shade of the tree dances over his fur, little patches of light flickering across his face. Muriel sits nearby, knitting something small and cozy. The soft sound of yarn against needles keeps time with the breeze. Every few minutes she looks up, smiles at Courage, and goes back to her rhythm. Eustace, somewhere far off, is tinkering with his truck again, grumbling to himself in that old familiar way. The world feels safe, that kind of safety that comes from quiet routine, from knowing that even in the middle of nowhere you belong. Courage sighs, the kind of sigh that sounds like a lullaby. His eyes flutter, and the line between waking and dreaming begins to blur. The warmth, the sounds, the softness, they all pull him into a place between memory and dream. He finds himself walking through a wide, glowing field. The grass moves like waves, slow and steady, whispering with each touch of the wind. The sun above him glows faintly pink and gold, hanging low in a sky that feels endless. This place feels familiar. He's been here before, maybe in a memory, maybe in his heart. As he walks, shapes begin to appear in the distance. Silhouettes that flicker like gentle ghosts. They're not frightening, not this time. They're kind, quiet, smiling. One by one, they take form memories, softened by time. He sees Cats, the cat, but not the cruel version from his past. This one is calm, sitting on a rock, sipping tea, nodding politely as Courage passes. The edges of Cats's red fur glow in the sunlight, and his usual grin has turned into something almost peaceful. "Hello, Courage," the memory whispers. "No need to fear. It's all over now." Courage blinks, then nods shyly. The field hums in approval. Next comes the quack and the sly duck who once caused so much trouble. But even he is gentle now, his voice soft, his eyes sleepy. He tips his little hat, muttering something in a language Courage doesn't understand, but the tone sounds kind. All around, the field fills with figures from the past shadows of adventures, softened into stories. The old computer from the attic hums a low, comforting tune. The windmill creaks softly in the distance. The sand swirls in lazy circles that glimmer with memory. Courage walks slowly through it all. No fear, no running, just peace. Each memory he passes gives off a faint light, like candles burning low but steady. The moments that once made him tremble now make him smile. They aren't scary anymore. They're reminders that he was brave, even when the world felt too big. The sky darkens slightly, but only to a dusky rose. The air grows cooler. The sound of Muriel's humming drifts faintly through the dream, threading itself through every step Courage takes. He looks up, and there she is, a vision of Muriel, glowing softly, standing at the far end of the field. Her eyes are warm, her hands outstretched. "Come here, my dear," she says, her voice carried by the breeze. "It's only a memory, but I'm always here." Courage runs toward her, not fast, not in panic, but in joy. His paws touch the grass lightly. The sunlight seems to follow him, painting golden trails where he runs. When he reaches her, she kneels and he presses his head against her hands. The warmth is real. The love is real. Even in dreams, love never fades. Muriel's voice wraps around him like a blanket. "You've seen so much, my sweet Courage. But it's all behind you now. Every fear, every storm, every shadow. They were only small parts of your story. The rest of it, The bigger part is love. The words settle deep inside him, and he closes his eyes. The field shimmers around them, and one by one the memories drift upward like fireflies. They float into the sky, glowing softly until they become stars. The night begins to form again, quiet and slow, but Courage doesn't feel tired. He feels light, almost floating. The field beneath him hums like a lullaby, and the sky above him hums the same tune back. He looks up at the stars. Each one flickers gently, and in each he sees something. Muriel smile, the house, the windmill, the shape of a friend he once saved. Even the monsters that scared him now sparkle softly, changed into something kinder. He realizes something then. All those moments, the fear, the running, the courage, they made him who he is. And who he is love. He whispers it into the night. Love stays. The stars twinkle brighter as if answering him. He feels the breeze brush his fur, soft as a hand patting his head. Somewhere far off, he can hear your voice, not words, just a feeling, like warmth traveling through the air. He knows you're still there, listening. He knows you care. He smiles, a little sleepy smile, and lies down in the grass. The field hums around him, slow and steady like the heartbeat of the earth. The memories fade into the stars above, leaving only peace. The sky turns a deeper shade of blue. The moon rises again, calm and golden. Courage breathes slowly, deeply, safely. And nowhere, quiet and wide, breathes with him. The windmill turns once, twice. The farmhouse glows faintly on the horizon. The whole world feels wrapped in love. Courage drifts once more, not falling asleep, not waking, just floating between both. His fur shimmers under the moonlight. His heart is still. His dreams are soft. And in that gentle place where memory and love become the same thing, Courage whispers one last time, to the stars, to the wind, to you. I'm here. You're safe. And I love you. Evening falls over nowhere once more. The sky fades from rose to violet to deep blue, until only the stars remain scattered across the quiet, like tiny lamps. The world feels slow again, gentle, the kind of stillness that wraps around the heart. The farmhouse glows from within, one light in the window, one soft hum from the old lamp. Muriel is asleep, her knitting resting neatly beside her chair. Eustace has drifted off too, his hat pulled low, his snore slow and steady. And Courage is awake. He sits by the window, his paws on the sill, eyes wide and soft. The moonlight falls across his fur, painting him silver. Outside, the fields stretch endlessly, washed pale by starlight. The windmill turns once in a while, its shadow sliding across the land like a slow heartbeat. This is Courage's favorite kind of night. The quiet kind. The peaceful kind. The kind where the only sound is the sigh of wind through the grass. He tilts his head, listening. Every creak, every rustle, every faint note in the dark, he knows them all. The house is speaking in its own sleepy language, and he understands every word. He isn't afraid tonight, not even a little. Because tonight, he feels something strong inside him. Not fear, not even bravery, but love. The kind of love that makes you want it to stay awake, just to keep the ones you care for safe. Courage glances back at Muriel. She's breathing softly, her chest rising and falling like waves against a quiet shore. Her gray hair glimmers faintly in the moonlight. He watches her for a long moment, then smiles to himself. He walks to the kitchen window and looks out again. The moon is higher now, big and round, casting light across the fields. He can see the fence line, the barn, the little path that leads out into the horizon. Sometimes the nights in nowhere are strange. Shadows move where they shouldn't. Lights flicker in the distance. But not tonight. Tonight the shadows are calm. The lights are kind. Even the wind feels friendly, brushing against the walls like a lullaby. Courage rests his chin on the windowsill. His eyes begin to droop, but he keeps watch. He feels proud. In that quiet way, only small hearts can feel proud, soft and steady, like a candle that refuses to go out. He remembers all the times he stood here before nights when the world wasn't this gentle, when he had to be brave even while trembling. He remembers running through the fields, chasing away things no one else could see. He remembers whispering to the stars, asking them for strength. And now those same stars watch over him, twinkling softly, their light falling like feathers across the land. He takes a deep breath and lets it out slowly. The sound almost matches Muriel's breathing, syncing with her rhythm even from across the room. The house feels alive, warm, safe. Even the windmill seems to turn in time with their breaths. Courage's eyes flutter again. He's tired now, but he doesn't want to close them just yet. He wants to stay awake a little longer, not because he's scared, but because he wants to protect this peace. He looks out the window and whispers quietly to the night. Thank you for keeping us safe. The wind moves through the grass, whispering back in its own soft way. You've done well, little one. Rest soon. He smiles. He likes when the wind talks back. The stars seem to twinkle brighter after that. Maybe it's the wind, or maybe it's the world itself answering his kindness. Either way, Courage feels his heart grow warm. He thinks of you, out there somewhere, maybe lying in bed, maybe already half asleep. He imagines you under your blanket, safe and quiet, listening to his story. He wishes he could curl up beside you, the way he does with Muriel, and keep you warm too. He whispers softly to the stars again, hoping somehow you can hear him. Sleep well, sleepy friend. I'm watching the night for both of us. Outside, the windmill creaks once, its sound deep and steady. The moon slides a little higher, its glow turning silver to pale gold. The land breathes. The night hums. Courage curls up by the window again. His eyelids are heavier now. His tail rests still. His heartbeat slows. But before he drifts off, he takes one last look at the horizon. The fields stretch endlessly, but they don't feel empty. They feel full of memory, of love, of quiet things that matter. He thinks of Muriel. He thinks of the house. He thinks of you. The wind brushes his face once more, cool and kind. He sighs a long, sleepy sigh and closes his eyes halfway. Everything feels right. Everything feels safe. Even the stars seem to whisper lullabies now. He thinks maybe this is what courage really means. Not fighting, not running, but loving quietly in the dark. Staying awake just long enough to make sure everyone you love can sleep without fear. He settles deeper into the warmth of the room. The floor beneath him hums softly. Somewhere a clock ticks slow, steady, gentle. Tick, tick, tick. Time moves softer here. The farmhouse dreams with him. The walls breathe. The air feels like a hug that never ends. He closes his eyes all the way this time. The moonlight still shines on him like a soft promise. The wind outside shifts, slow and sweet, like the last lullaby before dawn. And Courage, the night watcher, drifts off at last, his little heart steady, his love quiet and endless. Nowhere is safe again. Muriel is safe. You are safe. And Courage, your brave little friend, loves you more than words could ever say. The night grows deeper. The stars seem closer now, as if the sky itself has bent down to listen. The wind has quieted, the world holding its breath in gentle silence. Courage sleeps by the window, small and curled like a secret. His fur glows faintly in the silver light, his ears twitching at the soft whispers of the wind. The farmhouse is still. The only sound is Muriel's breathing, slow and sweet. In his sleep, Courage begins to dream. At first, it's the familiar world, the fields of nowhere, the windmill turning, the horizon stretched like a long sigh. But slowly the lines blur. The ground softens into clouds. The air becomes weightless, glowing. The sky folds into colors that don't have names. Courage blinks in the dream, his big eyes wide and wondering. He looks around and sees the farmhouse, but it's floating gently, like it's resting on a sea of stars. The walls shimmer softly, as if every happy memory has become light. Muriel is there too, humming her tune, her voice echoing through the dream like sunlight through glass. Eustace is snoring in his chair, and even his snores sound peaceful here. No grumbles, no frowns, just the sleepy hum of someone who has found rest. Courage smiles, and the dream smiles back. He walks outside. His paws don't sink into the ground, they drift. He feels lighter than the air, lighter than thought. The stars swirl around him, spinning like friendly fireflies. The windmill turns, but slower now, like the rhythm of a lullaby. He walks further, past the fence line, past the path, past the edge of everything he knows. But he isn't scared. The dream holds him. It feels like a soft hand guiding him forward. He sees shapes in the starlight, faint, glowing memories. The old bathtub spaceship, the snowman in the desert, the little duck that thought it was a hero. All of them drift by, smiling, waving, fading into sparkles as they pass. Courage feels something inside him, not fear, not sadness, but peace. He realizes every moment he's ever lived, every strange and scary thing, every laugh, every tear, all of it has made this dream brighter. The stars whisper his name, their voices like wind and honey. Courage, courage. He looks up, and for a moment, it feels like the whole sky is hugging him. You were never really alone, little one. You were always loved. He closes his eyes and lets the warmth sink in. The dream begins to glow brighter, like dawn blooming from within. The air hums softly, a melody that sounds like Muriel's voice mixed with the heartbeat of the world. Courage walks deeper into the light. Each step feels like a breath, slow and gentle. Each breath feels like a wave washing away the last bits of worry. He thinks of Muriel again, of the farmhouse, of the nights spent guarding the quiet. He thinks of Eustace, the snoring and the scolding that always somehow meant care. He thinks of you, yes, you, listening now, heart slow, eyes heavy. And he smiles. Even in this dream beyond nowhere, he knows where you are. He knows your warmth, your kindness, your quiet presence. He wants you to know something before the dream fades. You're safe. You're loved. You don't have to be brave all the time, because courage will be brave for you. In the dream, the stars start to fall not down, but around. They drift like feathers, surrounding him in soft golden light. His little ears twitch. His tail gives one slow wag, and then he lies down right there on a cloud of shimmering warmth. The stars hum softly. The windmill slows to a stop. The farmhouse fades into mist, but it doesn't disappear. It becomes part of the dream, part of the peace. Courage closes his eyes and sighs, the kind of sigh that feels like coming home. The world exhales with him. The wind whispers one last time, "Rest now, little one, you've done enough." And courage drifts deeper, past dreams, past sound, past fear, until there's only love. It stretches out endlessly soft and still, like a quiet sea beneath starlight. In that sea, courage floats, his heart glowing gently, sending warmth outward to everyone he's ever loved. Muriel, the farmhouse, the windmill, and you, especially you. Because even as the dream grows silent, his love doesn't fade. It moves like light, calm, constant, and endless. He whispers one last time, his voice soft and sleepy, almost part of the wind. Good night, sleepy friend. Sleepy Toons loves you. Courage loves you too, always. The stars blink once more as if nodding. The light fades. The night becomes still. And there, in the dream beyond nowhere, everything rests. Everything is safe. Everything sleeps. Let's move to the next lore, about Dexter. A different night, a different dream, but the same cozy heart. The farmhouse fades softly, and in its place appears a quiet house at the edge of a silent neighborhood. The stars hang low again, and beneath the floorboards of this house lies something secret, something glowing. A lab, hidden, humming, alive. Down a staircase that only opens with a whisper, the air hums with gentle energy. Beakers shine faintly. Gears turn in slow rhythm. And at the center of it all stands a boy in a white coat, his round glasses glimmering under soft light. Dexter. He's small, brilliant, and tonight he's calm. No alarms, no shouting, no Dee bouncing around, just the quiet whir of machines purring like sleepy cats. He walks through his lab, checking on his inventions. Not to test them, not to push them, but to make sure they're resting too. A robot arm powers down with a sigh. The lights dim one by one until the whole lab feels like it's breathing in slow, steady waves. Dexter looks around, his little gloved hands folded behind his back. His usual sharp focus softens into something warm. The hum of the room feels like a heartbeat, and for once, everything in his world is perfectly still. He whispers to himself in his soft, serious voice. Yes, tonight's the laboratory must sleep too. He smiles a little, a sleepy smile, the kind that almost surprises him. He presses a switch, and a low tune begins to play, not an alarm, not a system check, but a gentle melody he built himself. It's made of low beeps, soft hums, and glowing tones, a lullaby of circuits and light. As he listens, Dexter walks to a small corner of his lab, a place no one ever sees. There's a cozy chair there, tucked between a machine that measures dreams and a tube filled with glittering stars he once caught by accident. He sits down, swinging his little legs, watching the glow fade in and out across the metal walls. His glasses catch the light. Behind them, his eyes are softer than ever. He thinks about his inventions, about how each one began as an idea that wouldn't let him sleep. He used to think rest was for people who weren't curious enough, but tonight feels different. Tonight he realizes that curiosity can be gentle too. It can rest, it can breathe, it can dream. He leans back in the chair and sighs. The hum of the lab wraps around him like a blanket. He whispers quietly as if talking to someone who's listening through the machines. Are you still here, my sleepy friend? He pauses, smiles, and nods to himself. Good. I was hoping you'd stay. Because, Dexter loves you too. His voice softens even more. Sometimes I invent to make the world smarter. But tonight, I invent to make it calmer. He closes his eyes for a moment. In the background, a robotic arm carefully tucks a loose wire back into place, almost like it's tucking Dexter in. The whole lab seems to care for him and for you. Every light blinks a little slower, every sound grows softer. Dexter starts to drift, but as always, a thought flickers. He opens his eyes, whispering, maybe. One more experiment before bed. He walks to a small device resting on the table. It's round and gentle-looking, like a snow globe made of light. He built it to record dreams. Inside, tiny stars swirl lazily. He presses a button. The stars expand, floating slowly out into the lab holographic, glowing faintly pink and blue. They move like bubbles through water. Dexter smiles. He speaks to the glowing air. This experiment is about peace. I will measure how calm can travel from the heart to the sky. He closes his eyes again, letting the soft light bathe his face. He can almost feel it calm moving outward through him, through the lab, through the quiet air that connects everything. He thinks of Dee Dee. For once, he smiles at the thought of her. He imagines her sleeping too, probably dreaming about dancing through his lab without breaking anything. And he laughs quietly. Maybe tomorrow I will not yell. The stars keep swirling. They seem to glow brighter whenever Dexter feels love. The more he thinks of the people and things he cares for, the more beautiful the room becomes. He thinks of his parents upstairs, safe and unaware of the world below. He thinks of his inventions, sleeping quietly, waiting for new ideas. And then he thinks of you. His voice is gentle now, like a whisper through glass. If you are listening, know that you are part of the laboratory too. Every kind heart is an invention of light. You are brilliant and peaceful and loved. He sighs again, content. The lab hums lower, slower, like a giant heart sinking with his. The stars drift closer, circling around him. Dexter leans back in his chair, the glow reflecting on his glasses, and murmurs, This is my favorite experiment yet." The words fade into the hum. The light dims. Dexter's eyes flutter. His thoughts slow down, one by one, not disappearing, just becoming dreams. Outside, the house is still. The stars blink softly above the quiet town. Inside, a little boy genius in his glowing lab rests in perfect harmony. Machines breathe. Lights pulse gently. The night holds everything in its arms. And in the deepest hum of the lab, if you listen closely, you can still hear Dexter's last sleepy whisper. "Good night, my clever friend. You are safe in the laboratory of dreams." The hum of the laboratory drifts into something softer, slower and warmer, as if the machines themselves have fallen asleep. Somewhere inside the quiet, Dexter's breathing steadies. He doesn't even realize when his head tilts, when his little glasses slip slightly down his nose. And then, without a sound, the lab begins to change. He opens his eyes and blinks, not because an alarm went off, but because something feels different. The light has shifted. It's not the electric blue of circuits anymore. It's gold. Gentle gold, like the first light of morning, but sweeter. Dexter looks around. The machines that once hummed in rhythm now float, drifting in midair as if gravity itself decided to take a nap. The air smells like metal and stars. The floor glows faintly beneath his feet. He realizes with a small smile that he's dreaming, but it feels like home. He adjusts his glasses and speaks softly to himself. Interesting. The dream is showing me my own creation, but softer, kinder. A tiny robot rolls by, its wheels leaving trails of light on the floor. It chirps quietly like a lullaby in binary code. Dexter kneels down and pats its metal head. "Good job, little one. Even in my dream, you are efficient." The robot beeps once more and drifts away, scattering a little glittering dust that shimmers in the air. Dexter walks slowly through the dream lab. Everything feels alive, but not in the usual scientific way. The machines seem to breathe. The air seems to sing. Even the computers hum with warmth, like they're smiling from inside their screens. He passes by one of his dream inventions, a tall glass cylinder filled with liquid starlight. Inside it, glowing shapes float upward, shifting and turning like thoughts made visible. Dexter leans closer. He can almost hear them whispering. "You're doing fine, Dexter. Rest is part of genius. Love is the greatest experiment." He steps back and blinks quickly. "Strange," he says softly. "Zedata seems emotional, but perhaps the dream knows something I don't." He continues walking. The dream grows larger around him. Corridors unfold, leading to rooms he's never built. Rooms that seem to have formed from his imagination itself. In one room, gears turn into stars and stars into soft, glowing flowers. In another, his chalkboard scribbles float through the air, erasing and rewriting themselves with glowing dust. Everywhere he looks, his inventions are happy. He can feel it. They aren't working, calculating, or testing. They're resting, glowing quietly in the comfort of their own purpose. Dexter stops. A thought crosses his mind, slow and tender. Maybe invention is not only about building, he whispers. Maybe it is about caring, about making Z-World softer. As if the dream itself agrees, a gentle wind passes through the lab. It smells like electricity and childhood. Dexter closes his eyes and lets it move through his hair, through his thoughts. He opens them again and sees something glowing in the distance, a door made entirely of light. It hums softly, almost calling him. He walks closer, careful but curious. When he reaches out and touches it, the door doesn't open. It melts into the air like warm honey. Behind it is a field not metal, not circuits, not code. A wide-open dream field glowing under a violet sky. There are little stars growing like flowers on the ground. The hum of the lab becomes the hum of nature. Dexter steps forward, his white coat glowing faintly against the violet light. He looks around and smiles. It's been so long since he saw something this calm. He kneels down and touches one of the star flowers. It flickers gently against his glove. A voice not quite Muriel's, not quite Dee Dee's, not even the computer's whispers softly from the field. "You work so hard, Dexter. But even geniuses need dreams." He looks up, eyes wide. Who is here?" The air itself seems to smile. The light bends slightly and the whisper continues. "It's me. Your dream. The part of you that remembers why you love to create. You build things to make life brighter, but you too deserve to rest in that light." Dexter's lips part slightly. He doesn't know what to say. His small chest rises and falls slowly. He whispers back, almost shyly, "I just want to make things better for everyone." The dream answers softly. "You already do. Even your curiosity is a gift. Even your mistakes carry love." Dexter lowers his head. His eyes glisten. "No one ever says that to me," he murmurs. The voice smiles again. You can feel it in the warmth of the air. "They are saying it now, and I will say it again. You are loved, little scientist." He stands there for a moment, frozen in wonder. Then he nods, almost to himself, and says, "Danke. I mean, thank you." He looks up at the stars again. They shine brighter now, filling the field with gentle light. And then, softly, as if the universe itself has turned into a lullaby, he hears another voice. Your voice. Not loud, not far, but right beside him. You whisper, "Good night, Dexter." He smiles, his cheeks glowing faintly pink. Good night, my sleepy friend. He lies down among the glowing flowers. The lab hums faintly in the distance, and the stars blink softly ever. As he drifts into the deeper part of his dream, the last thing he feels is warmth, the warmth of being understood, the warmth of love that hums quieter than any machine. The sky folds around him. The world fades into light. And Dexter, the little genius of dreams, sleeps peacefully, his heart steady, his inventions glowing softly in time with his breath and yours. The dream drifts softly onward. Dexter lies among the glowing flowers for a while, listening to the hush of the dream around him, a hush that feels alive, like the slow breathing of a friend who wants him to rest. He could stay here forever, but something gentle calls to him again. A faint hum, low and steady like a note that never ends. It comes from somewhere beyond the starlit field. Dexter opens his eyes, slow and calm. The sky above him looks softer now. Clouds, like ribbons of light, drift lazily through the violet air. He gets to his feet, brushing imaginary dust from his coat, and begins to follow the sound. The field fades into a soft mist. Through it, shapes begin to appear, tall walls, faint blue light, and the familiar hum of the laboratory again. But this one looks older, quieter. Dexter tilts his head. I remember this place, he whispers. This is where I put all the things that did not work. He steps forward, and the doors to the room of forgotten ideas open without a sound. Inside, the air smells faintly like copper and dust. But there's warmth, too. Not sadness, but nostalgia. The machines here are strange and crooked. Some are half-finished, others softly flickering, as if dreaming their own dreams. Dexter walks slowly between them, his shoes tapping lightly on the glowing floor. He sees an old mechanical arm he built when he was 6, meant to help his mother cook breakfast faster. The arm lifts gently and waves, its motion shaky but sweet. He smiles. Ah, yes, you almost made the perfect pancake. The arm clicks twice, a tiny, proud sound. He moves on. There's the bubble machine that once filled the lab with laughter instead of data. There's the old talking calculator that never stopped telling jokes. There's even a little box labeled Project Happiness Detector, long abandoned, yet softly pulsing with light, as if it never gave up trying. Dexter stops there. He kneels beside the small box. It glows faintly golden, even though he remembers discarding it years ago. He whispers, I was certain you fear a failure. The box hums weakly and answers, its voice faint and kind. No experiment that searches for joy can truly fail. Dexter's eyes widen. He wasn't expecting an answer. He leans closer. You can still speak? Yes, says the little voice, soft as sleep. You left me behind, but I kept listening. You built me to detect happiness, and I found it here, in your quiet. Dexter sits down beside it. He feels something in his chest, something warm, something that makes his breath slow. He realizes how many times he's moved too fast, chasing new things, forgetting how gentle invention can be. I be so busy searching for perfection, he murmurs, that I forgot the joy. The box hums again, a sound almost like a purr. You can't build happiness, Dexter. You can only feel it. He nods slowly. I think I am feeling it now. He leans back, resting his head against the wall. The room around him glows a little brighter. Each forgotten invention hums softly, like a choir made of memories. Tiny lights flicker across the machines, little stars trapped in metal, gently blinking in unison. One by one, Dexter's creations seem to wake, not to work, but to remember. The pancake arm waves again. The calculator tells a single quiet joke. Why did the robot cross the road? To recharge. Dexter actually laughs quietly, the sound like air escaping a sigh. It's not his usual sharp laugh, it's soft, almost tender. He stands looking around at everything he once abandoned. You are not failures, he says softly. You are the steps that taught me love. And the room glows brighter. From the walls, a ripple of light spreads outward, silver, gold, violet. It touches everything, the machines, the air, Dexter's coat, and finally, it reaches you. If you listen closely, you can feel it too, a warmth that spreads through your chest, slow and kind. Dexter looks up and smiles faintly. I think, he whispers, I will build something new tomorrow. Something that reminds people to rest, to love, to smile. He walks to the center of the room. There, floating above the ground, is a single, glowing sphere, his dream's heart. It pulses softly, in rhythm with his heartbeat. He reaches out his hand and touches it. The sphere opens like a flower, and light flows around him, calm, steady, golden. It wraps him up gently, like a blanket made of every good thing he's ever created. He whispers, maybe all my inventions were only trying to teach me this. The sphere hums in response. And now you know, even a genius needs love. He closes his eyes. Even a genius can give it. And he means it for Muriel, for Dee Dee, for the world, and for you, especially you. Because somewhere deep in the hum of the room, he feels your quiet heartbeat, your calm breathing, and he knows you're resting too. The light pulses once more, wrapping around both of you. No alarms. No experiments. Just warmth. Dexter whispers softly. You are safe in the laboratory of dreams. You are my favorite discovery. Then he sits back down beside the glowing box, closing his eyes again. The room hums low, a lullaby in machinery and love. The last thing he hears before sleep swallows him deeper is the calculator's gentle voice, whispering like a secret. Good night, Dexter. And the little boy genius smiles one last sleepy smile. Good night, everyone. The lights dim. The hum slows. And the room of forgotten ideas becomes a room of soft, endless peace. The light fades slowly, melting into soft lavender mist. The hum of machines becomes a gentle rhythm, like the heartbeat of a world asleep. Dexter drifts deeper, deeper still, until he feels as though he's floating through starlight. In that weightless quiet, something faint begins to echo a giggle, light, musical, like the sparkle of sunlight on glass. Dexter's eyes open slowly as the mist around him turns pink. Oh no, he mumbles, still half asleep. I knows that sound. He looks around and there she is, Dee Dee, dancing in the air, her hair floating like ribbons of cotton candy. But this time, she's not stomping on buttons or knocking things over. She moves gently as if the dream itself is her stage. Dee Dee, Dexter sighs softly. What are you doing in my dream? She twirls once, her laughter softer now, not teasing, but warm. I was always here, silly. I live inside your imagination. You built me there, remember? Dexter tilts his head, curious despite himself. I built you? Of course, she says, drifting closer. Every time you invented something amazing, I was the part of you that imagined it could exist. I'm the wonder behind your logic. I'm your curiosity, wearing ballet shoes. Dexter's eyes soften. He looks down at his hands, the faint glow of the dream reflecting in his glasses. So all's the chaos, all's the interruptions were really just love, she finishes, smiling. Dee Dee lands lightly beside him, her steps making tiny ripples on the air. Around them, the mist begins to clear, revealing a strange new place, a field of floating stars stretching endlessly, with soft lights bobbing like lanterns. Each light hums faintly, and when Dexter looks closer, he sees little versions of his past inventions inside tiny memories floating freely, no longer trapped in machines. "What is this play?" he whispers. "It's the inside of your imagination," Dee Dee says, gently tapping his head. "Every idea you've ever had lives here. The ones that worked, the ones that didn't, they all float together now. You never really lost them." Dexter watches as a small, glowing figure drifts past his old voice recorder drone, lazily spinning and humming a tune. Then another, a miniature energy orb pulsing in soft gold. Each invention floats like a dreamlet, peaceful and free. Dee Dee sighs, her voice a lullaby. "You always worked so hard to be perfect, Dexter. But look, everything you made was already beautiful, because it came from your heart." Dexter smiles faintly. "You sound very wise tonight, Dee Dee." She giggles. "Maybe dreams make everyone wiser." They walk, or maybe float together through the glowing field. The stars above shift slowly, like gears in a sky-sized machine. Everything hums in harmony. Dexter stops and looks at one light that shines brighter than the rest. Inside it, he sees something surprising, a memory of the two of them, younger, sitting on the floor of their home. Dee Dee is drawing flowers, and he's building something from toy blocks. They aren't arguing. They're just existing together. He watches the memory play, soft and simple. He almost forgot it. Dee Dee leans close, her voice barely a whisper. "That's the first time you ever smiled while inventing." "I did not realize it was because of you," Dexter admits. She grins. "It always was." For a long moment, they just float there. The air feels heavy with peace. The light of the stars turns softer, almost sleepy, and the hum around them slows. Dexter finally speaks again, his tone quiet and full. "You know, Dee Dee, I always thought you were a distraction. But maybe you was a reminder." "Of what?" He looks at her, smiling now, a real smile, one that glows even in the soft pink air. "Of why I invent at all. Not just to be clever, but to share wonder." Dee Dee beams. "Then you finally understand." She stretches out her hand, and a thread of light forms between her fingers, shimmering like silk. It floats in the air and connects it to Dexter's heart. "What is this?" he whispers. "It's what connects us," she says gently. "Imagination and love, logic and wonder. You can't have one without the other." The thread pulses once, twice, syncing with their heartbeats. Around them, all the floating stars begin to drift closer, forming constellations that hum in tune with the thread's rhythm. The air shimmers gold, silver, rose. Everything feels soft and whole. Dee Dee squeezes his hand. "You've always been brilliant, Dexter. But brilliance without warmth can't light the world." He nods slowly. "And now I understand the warmth." "You do," she says, smiling, her voice fading into the glow. "And you'll remember it when you wake up." She starts to drift backward, her form turning to light. Dexter reaches out, suddenly worried. "Dee Dee, wait. Will I see you again?" Her laughter rings out, soft as a bell. "Always. Every time you dream." And with that, she fades into the starlit air, her glow merging with the field until all that's left is a quiet shimmer, like dust catching sunlight. Dexter stands alone again, but not lonely. He feels her warmth in his chest, in his inventions, in the rhythm of the dream. He looks up, whispering to the sky. "Good night, Dee Dee." A star above him flickers twice a reply, gentle and bright. Then Dexter takes a deep breath, sits down on a floating platform of light, and lets his eyes close again. The stars hum a lullaby, slow and soothing, carrying him deeper into the calm. Somewhere in that silence he whispers one more time, almost to himself, but also to you, his sleepy friend listening close. I understand now. Curiosity, imagination, and love are the same dream. And tonight, we dream together. The hum fades. The stars blink softly. And Dexter falls asleep inside his own wonder-warm, safe, loved. The stars begin to fade slowly, gracefully. Their shimmer softens into morning hues, pale gold, warm pink, sleepy blue. The field of floating dreams melts away like mist touched by dawn. Dexter stirs softly, his small hands resting over his chest, where the thread of light still hums quietly, a heartbeat made of love and wonder. He opens his eyes. The world feels different now. The floor beneath him is once again the clean, polished surface of his laboratory, but the air is gentler than it has ever been. There's no blaring alarm, no cold hum of circuits. The machines around him are quiet, blinking softly as if they too are waking from the same dream. Dexter sits up and takes a slow breath. He whispers, "I remember. Dee, and the stars. The love." His voice sounds calmer, lower, full of peace. For the first time, the laboratory doesn't feel like a place of endless work. It feels alive, like home. He looks around, noticing little things he never had before. The soft glow of a monitor screen, the rhythmic blinking of the heart-shaped gauge on the wall. Even the faint dust caught in the morning light looks beautiful now. He smiles faintly. Maybe science can be gentle too. Dexter walks toward his workbench. His tools are neatly lined up, but today he doesn't reach for wires or metal. He closes his eyes and lets his hands rest on the table, listening, not for the hum of electricity, but for something quieter. There it is, the whisper of memory, the feeling of Dee's laughter, the hum of the box that once told him happiness could not be built, but felt. He smiles again. "This time," he whispers, "I will build not a machine, but a reminder." He begins to move slowly and carefully, letting instinct guide him. He picks up a glass sphere, small, perfect, clear as morning water. Inside, he places a thread of silver wire shaped like a tiny spiral. Then he adds a drop of something golden, not metal, not light, something softer, something from the dream. He doesn't know what to call it, but it feels like warmth. Piece by piece, the invention takes shape. He connects wires that hum softly, attaches lenses that bend the light into ribbons, places mirrors that reflect it back into itself. The more he works, the calmer the lab becomes, until even the air feels hushed in awe. When he finally steps back, there it is, his new invention, glowing softly in the center of the room, a small orb of living light floating just above the table. It hums quietly, the same hum that filled his dream. Dexter tilts his head, whispering, "You are not for the world to analyze. You are for the world to feel." He touches the orb gently with one finger. Instantly, the light spreads through the lab, not blinding, but soft, golden, warm. It drifts over the walls, filling every shadow with a gentle glow. The light flows through the vents, the corridors, even into the corners that used to feel cold. It finds the old machines, the ones Dexter left behind, and touches them kindly, bringing them back to life. But this time, they don't beep or buzz. They purr softly, like sleepy animals. The light even slips under the door into the world beyond. Dexter follows it. standing in the doorway as it spreads. It flows through the hallways of his house, brushing over family photos, touching the toys Dee Dee left on the floor, curling softly around the window curtains. It seeps outside into the early morning air, where it glows faintly like dawn's first blush. And there, standing in the doorway of his lab, Dexter realizes something simple and pure. He has made something beautiful, not through calculation, but through kindness. He whispers to himself, "I call it the invention of light." He steps closer to the orb and whispers to it softly, as if to a friend. "You will remind anyone who sees you that they are loved. That even a tiny spark of warmth can change the coldest room." The light hums gently, responding like it understands. Dexter feels a smile tug at his lips again. His voice softens. "Maybe. This is what I have been searching for all along." He stands there for a while, bathed in the gentle glow, his thoughts moving like clouds. He thinks of Muriel and Courage's kindness, of Dee Dee's laughter, of his own little heart learning to slow down and listen. He thinks of all the people who will never see his lab, never know his name, but who somehow might feel the warmth of this light anyway. He looks up as though he could see you through the glow. "Yes," he says softly. "You too. You who listen to my story. You are part of this light." The orb shimmers brighter for a moment, almost as if it's reacting to his words, as if it can feel your calm breath from across the distance. Dexter continues, his voice a lullaby now soft and sure. "You have listened to my journey, my mistakes, my dreams. You have made me feel not alone. So is light. It belongs to you too. Whenever you are sad or tired or lost in thought, imagine it floating near you, humming softly, saying in the gentlest voice, 'You are loved.'" He pauses. The lab is completely still now, except for the glow. His eyes close for a moment, and his face relaxes. "I will leave it on," he whispers. "It will shine for all dreamers." He sits down at his workbench again, resting his chin on his arms. The orb floats above him, steady and warm. He speaks one last time, his voice barely more than a sigh. "I have built 1,000 machines, but only this one truly matters. It does not measure or record. It simply glows. And in that glow, I see all of you sleeping, peaceful, kind. My friends, my greatest experiment is love." The orb hums softly, and the light dims a little, wrapping the lab in calm twilight. Dexter's eyes flutter closed. He drifts in that quiet warmth, his small heart steady and content. The lab breathes with him, rising and falling, until the silence is total and perfect. Outside, the sun rises, and the light of the world meets the glow of Dexter's invention. They blend together, seamless and eternal. And if you listen closely, you can almost hear his sleepy whisper as he fades into another dream. "Good night, my brilliant friend. The world is bright because you are in it." The morning outside the laboratory stretches wide and golden, like a blanket freshly warmed by the sun. Soft light spills through the windows, dust motes dance lazily in its glow, and everything hums with a quiet that feels alive. Dexter stirs gently in his chair, still resting beside the orb of light he created, the invention that wasn't built to change the world through power, but through peace. His head lifts slowly, and his glasses catch the glow. For a moment, he simply watches the orb float, humming in a soft, slow rhythm, like a heartbeat in the air. He smiles. It still lives, and it still loves. He rises from his chair, small hands smoothing his lab coat. Around him, every machine hums gently, not in command or calculation, but in harmony, as if even the wires and gears have learned to breathe. Dexter steps closer to the orb and whispers, "I built you to remind people of warmth, but maybe you are ready to do more than remind. Maybe you are ready to share." The orb seems to shimmer brighter at his words. Its light trembles softly, like it understands. He takes a deep breath. "Let us see if the world is ready for kindness." Dexter presses a button, not one that explodes or transforms, but one carved carefully, painted gold. The orb rises higher, humming louder now as the entire lab fills with golden light. Then, without sound or force, it begins to drift upward through the ceiling, through the air, into the open sky. Dexter watches from the doorway as his creation floats higher and higher, until it's just a dot against the morning blue. Then, like a star being born, it bursts softly, not in fire but in light. The glow ripples outward, gentle waves spreading across the world. In the town nearby, the people wake to find sunlight that feels softer. It doesn't sting their eyes, it warms their hearts. Children giggle without knowing why. Old men pause in their walks, smiling at the sky. Even Dee, still asleep in her bed, turns over and murmurs in her dream, "Good job, Dexter." The light travels further through clouds, across fields, over oceans. It touches every place, every home, every quiet corner where someone feels small or unseen. And in each place it reaches, the same hum whispers, "You are loved." In a quiet farmhouse far away, Courage tilts his head at the window, seeing the glow spread across the fields. He feels a little braver. Muriel, knitting beside him, smiles for no reason at all. Somewhere else, a lonely scientist at her desk looks up from her notes, her eyes suddenly warm. A child staring at the stars feels a hand in theirs, though no one's there. Dexter doesn't know all this, but maybe he doesn't need to. He can feel it. The connection hums softly in the air, through every molecule of light, through every calm breath being taken in the world. He sits on the doorstep of his lab, resting his chin in his palms. The grass outside glows faintly where the light touched it, little fireflies waking from slumber. He speaks softly, almost to himself, but somehow to everyone. "I thought I needed to prove how clever I was. But the truth is, I only needed to remember how kind I could be." He looks down, his small feet swinging gently above the step. "I built the invention of light to share love, but now I see love built me." The words linger in the air, tender and true. He leans back, letting his head rest against the doorway, and watches as the light drifts on. Above him, clouds shimmer with faint traces of gold. The lab behind him hums in a soft lullaby, like a heartbeat that has finally found its rhythm. A gentle wind blows, carrying with it the faintest echo of Dee's laugh. Dexter smiles. "Ah, there you are, Dee. You see? I did it. I made something beautiful and peaceful." He closes his eyes. The breeze moves through his hair, through his coat, and whispers across the fields. In that sound, the hum of the orb lingers, still no longer inside his lab, but everywhere. He imagines it touching faraway lands, quiet rooms, sleepy listeners like you lying in bed, eyes half closed, wrapped in warmth. He imagines his invention hovering softly over your dreams, whispering what he feels now deep in his heart. "You are the brightest ideas the universe ever had." The thought makes him chuckle quietly. Perhaps. Not everything needs equations. He lies back in the grass, the morning light pooling around him. The hum slows, matching his breath. The clouds drift lazily above, and for the first time, Dexter feels no rush, no pressure, no noise, just calm. He thinks of the first time he opened his lab's secret door. He was so small, so eager. Everything had to be done fast. Everything had to be perfect. But now he understands the true invention was never the machine. It was the quiet he had to learn to listen to. And that quiet feels like music now. He lets his eyes close once more, feeling the light's warmth against his face. The soft hum fades into the slow rhythm of his breathing. The world is beautiful, he whispers, barely audible now, because it has hearts, not circuits. The grass sways gently. The light from the orb continues its journey, far beyond sight, spreading through night and day alike, finding sleepy dreamers everywhere, those who doubt themselves, those who worry, those who simply need to be reminded that they are enough. And as it finds them, as it finds you, the light hums softly, a voice woven through the air, Dexter's voice, calm, small, sincere. You are not just my listener. You are my inspiration. Sleep well, my brilliant friend. The world glows a little brighter, because you are in it. The hum fades to silence. The morning melts into golden dreamlight. Dexter's lab stands still, safe and gentle, wrapped in peace. And somewhere, under a sky full of soft clouds and sleepy light, a little boy genius smiles in his sleep, surrounded by everything he's ever loved, everything he's ever built, everything that loves him back. Scooby Doo's here tonight, his tail wagging slow, his soft eyes half closed, ready to take you on a gentle mystery. He wants you to know something before we begin. Scooby loves you. He really does. You're part of his gang, part of his family. So pull your blanket close, rest your head, and let the mystery begin in the coziest corner of the world. The night is calm. The moon glows over the quiet coast of a little seaside town called Seabreeze Point. Waves roll in slowly, whispering secrets to the sand. Seagulls sleep tucked under their wings, and parked beside an old silver-blue lighthouse stands the mystery machine, its bright colors softened by the silver moonlight. Inside, the gang is resting after a long day's drive. Fred sits up front, eyes half closed, the steering wheel cool beneath his fingers. Velma leans against the window, a book on her lap, the corners of her glasses catching faint light. Daphne has a soft scarf around her shoulders, her head resting on the back of her seat. And in the back, curled up under a blanket made of Scooby Snacks wrappers, are Shaggy and Scooby snoring gently, paws and fingers tangled, dreaming of sandwiches. Everything is peaceful until the wind changes. It starts as a sigh, long and slow, like the sea remembering something old. Then faintly, from the direction of the lighthouse, comes a sound. A low hum, a whisper. Not frightening, just curious, like someone calling from far away. Scooby's ear twitches in his sleep. He opens one eye. He mumbles softly, blinking at the window. The lighthouse stands tall against the stars, its light blinking once every few seconds. But between those blinks, something else glows, a softer, bluish shimmer that seems to move like it's alive. Scooby nudges Shaggy gently. Raggy, you hear that? Shaggy opens one eye, still half dreaming. Huh? Hear what, Scoob? Ruh. Whisper, Scooby says, tail curling close. Like, gusty wind. Shaggy squints toward the lighthouse, then yawns. Like, man, it's probably just the ocean telling bedtime stories, Scoob. Scooby tilts his head. The sound drifts again soft, distant like words caught in sea breeze. Velma stirs from the front seat. Did you two hear that too? She says, pushing up her glasses. It sounded unusual. Fred sits up, rubbing his eyes. Maybe it's the lighthouse keeper. Let's check it out carefully. Daphne smiles, adjusting her scarf. A midnight stroll by the sea sounds kind of nice, doesn't it? Shaggy groaned softly, pulling the blanket higher. Nice for you, maybe. For us, it's usually a midnight run from whatever's whispering. Scooby nods, but then looks at you as you, listening so softly. He gives you a sleepy smile and whispers, "Ruh-oh. But we brave, right?" And in that warm little whisper, you can feel his love, his trust. He believes in you. He knows you'll help him solve this mystery. The gang steps out of the van. The night air is cool and smells like salt and flowers. The sea glows faintly under the moon. The lighthouse looms ahead, its light blinking rhythmically, like a heartbeat in the fog. The closer they walk, the softer the sound becomes, the hum almost turning into a tune, a lullaby of sorts, drifting on the wind. Fred pauses at the old gate. "Looks like nobody's been here in years," he murmurs. Velma points her flashlight at the ground. "Footprints," she says softly. "Fresh ones." Scooby gulps. "Row." They move slowly, step by step, up the path that winds toward the lighthouse. The pebbles crunch beneath their feet, and the ocean sighs below. Each gust of wind smells faintly like rain and seaweed, like secrets. When they reach the base of the lighthouse, the air feels different, charged, alive. The door creaks open by itself, and the faint sound of that lullaby drifts down the spiral staircase. Fred whispers, "Stay close, gang." The flashlight beam cuts through dust and cobwebs. The walls are old but strong, painted white long ago. The smell of salt and metal hangs heavy. Shaggy and Scooby walk at the back, huddled together. Scooby's paw rests lightly on your shoulder. You can almost feel it through the story, big and soft and trembling just a little. They climb, step by slow step. Each creak of wood feels older than time. At the top, they find a small circular room, the lantern chamber. The great lens still turns, bathing everything in soft gold light. But in one corner, where moonlight falls through a crack in the roof, sits something unexpected. An old music box painted with stars and seashells. It's open and playing itself. The tune is delicate, like a lullaby from another life. Velma kneels beside it. That's strange. It's mechanical, but it's working without winding. Fred looks around. Maybe it's on some kind of timer? Daphne runs her hand over the lid. "It's beautiful," she whispers. Almost comforting. Scooby edges closer, ears twitching. Pretty. The melody slows, then stops. The light flickers. And then gently, softly, a voice sighs. "Thank you." The gang freezes. The air shifts, colder now, but still not frightening. Just sad. Shaggy whispers, Did that music box just thank us?" Velma's eyes widen. "I think it did." A soft shimmer fills the air shape, barely there, like mist caught in light. The gang steps back, but the figure doesn't move closer. It stays by the window where moonlight shines the brightest. The voice comes again, faint but kind. "I've been waiting a long time for someone to listen." The figure turns slightly, its edges glowing faint blue. It looks like a woman wearing an old lighthouse coat. Her face is calm, her smile small and tired. Scooby tilts his head. Raw, you ghost?" The woman nods. "Once, but not anymore." The wind swirls gently around the room. Her voice is as soft as waves. "I kept the light burning, even after the storm stopped. But when no ships came, I forgot what it meant to guide them. The sea grew quiet. I fell asleep." Her gaze drifts toward the music box. "That tune was my reminder. And now, you've come." Fred steps forward carefully. "We didn't mean to disturb you. We heard your song and wanted to make sure everything was all right." The woman smiles faintly. Everything is all right now. You brought light back to the tower. Her form flickers gently. The sea remembers kindness. And slowly, like morning mist, she fades, not vanishing, but blending into the light of the lantern until she becomes part of it. The glow grows warmer, the air softer. Shaggy lets out a small sigh of relief. Like, wow, that's the first ghost that didn't chase us, Scoob. Scooby nods, smiling softly. Nice ghost. Velma takes a deep breath. Maybe not every mystery is about fear. Some are about remembrance. Fred nods. And about light that never goes out. Scooby turns to you then, his tail wagging slow. He smiles, eyes full of calm warmth. Remember, sleepy friend, even when dark, there's light and love. He leans his head gently on your shoulder. You can almost feel the soft weight. His heartbeat steady and slow. Down below, the sea whispers again, but now it sounds peaceful, like a lullaby finishing its last verse. The gang stays for a while, sitting by the lantern room, watching dawn break. Velma reads quietly. Daphne hums the tune from the music box. Fred sips warm cocoa from a thermos. Shaggy and Scooby share the last sandwich of the night, half for him, half for you. And as the light fills the sky, Scooby closes his eyes and whispers one last thing before drifting off beside you. I love you. The waves roll on. The lighthouse stands tall. The mystery of the whispering light is solved, but its glow remains gentle and golden, wrapping you, Scooby, and the whole gang in sleepy peace. Morning comes to Seabreeze Point wrapped in mist. The sky blushes faint pink. The gulls wake with slow yawns, and the sea hums softly against the rocks. Inside the mystery machine, the gang stirs one by one. Sleepy smiles, soft stretches, and that lingering peace that only comes after a kind mystery has been solved. Fred opens the van door and cool air drifts in, smelling of salt and lilacs. Good morning, gang, he says, voice low and easy. Daphne yawns, pulling her scarf tighter. Feels like we slept inside a cloud. Velma adjusts her glasses, smiling faintly. I can't remember the last time a ghost helped us sleep better. Scooby stretches, his paws brushing the seat, tongue lolling out with a happy sigh. Best nap ever. Shaggy chuckles. Like you said it, buddy. I dreamed of 12-layer sandwiches that could sing. Scooby giggles, ears flopping. Yummy songs. They all laugh quietly together, the kind of laugh that fills the van like sunlight. As they pack up to explore the small coastal town, Fred spots a hand-painted sign near the road. It reads, Seabreeze Inn, a home of warm beds, warmer breakfasts. Daphne smiles. That sounds perfect. Velma nods. After climbing a haunted lighthouse, I could use a real bed. Shaggy's eyes brighten. And like a real breakfast. Scooby bounces slightly. Hurrah, breakfast! The mystery machine hums down the winding lane, past picket fences and sleepy cottages wrapped in ivy. The road ends at a cozy, pale yellow inn facing the sea. A weathered porch swings gently in the wind, and chimes made of seashells tinkle softly. As they step inside, a little bell above the door rings a clear, comforting sound. The air smells of coffee, pancakes, and ocean breeze. An elderly woman appears behind the counter, her smile soft and familiar, like a face you feel you've known forever. Good morning, traveler, she says, voice warm. Welcome to Seabreeze Inn. You must be the ones who fixed the lighthouse. Fred nods, surprised. How did you know? She chuckles gently. This town feels things. The light came back last night, and we all slept better. Scooby blushes under his fur, tail wagging. We help. The woman bends down and pats his head kindly. You certainly did, sweetheart. Her name is Miss Coraline, the innkeeper. She shows them to the room, small, wooden, with wide windows that open toward the sea. The beds are soft, covered in handmade quilts, patterned with stars and waves. On each pillow lies a single seashell. Velma runs her hand across one. These are beautiful, she murmurs. Miss Coraline smiles. They're wishing shells. Make a wish, and the sea carries it. Scooby holds his shell carefully between his paws, looking at it with sleepy wonder. Ruh. I wish everyone happy, he whispers softly. He looks at you, too, his gaze gentle, his voice almost like a lullaby. And, you too, sleepy friend. Miss Coraline sets down a tray of muffins and cocoa. Breakfast is in the dining room. When you're ready, you'll hear the bell. When she leaves, the gang gathers by the window, watching the mist lift. The view is calm. Fishing boats drift far out, and the lighthouse stands proud in the distance, its light steady and golden. Fred leans on the windowsill. We should take a day to rest before heading to the next mystery. Daphne nods, brushing her hair back. Rest and maybe explore the town a little. It feels so peaceful here. But Velma is staring at something, a framed photograph on the wall near her bed. It shows the same lighthouse, but the top lantern chamber is different. Instead of a single beam, it has two crossing each other in the sky. That's strange, Velma says quietly. The lighthouse doesn't have two lights. Shaggy peers over her shoulder. Maybe like it used to? Scooby tilts his head. Two lights? Velma studies the back of the photo and frowns. There's a note here. For those who keep the twin flames burning. The words echo softly in the quiet room. Before anyone can say more, a low bell rings from downstairs breakfast time. The gang heads to the dining room, where Miss Coraline has laid out steaming plates of pancakes, honey butter, and warm berry jam. The morning passes lazily. Fred helps Miss Coraline fix a squeaky step. Daphne arranges flowers in the windows. Velma reads old books from the inn's tiny shelf. Shaggy and Scooby take turns napping in the rocking chair, waking up just long enough to sneak another muffin. By afternoon, sunlight spills golden through the lace curtains. The gang gathers on the porch, letting the sea breeze play with their hair. Everything feels slow, calm, timeless. But then, from the direction of the shore, a sound drifts on the wind faint, almost musical. A soft hum. Not the same as the lighthouse lullaby. This one is lighter, brighter, like laughter caught in the waves. Scooby sits up, ears perking. Raggy, you hear that? Shaggy blinks awake. Huh? Yeah, man. Like it's kind of pretty. Fred listens, brow furrowed. It sounds like singing? Miss Coraline steps out onto the porch, her expression suddenly thoughtful. Ah, she says softly. You're hearing the song again. The song? Daphne asks. Coraline nods, looking toward the sea. Every few weeks, when the tide is high, that melody comes. They say it's the voice of the second lightkeeper, the one who vanished long ago. Velma leans forward. The note in the photo mentioned twin flames. The old woman nods. Yes. The lighthouse once had two keepers, twin sisters. One guided ships from the tower, the other sang from the shore. But one night, during a terrible storm, her song stopped. Only one light remained. Fred's voice softens. And the town never found her? No, Coraline says, her eyes distant. But sometimes, when the sea is gentle, we still hear her voice. The melody grows a little louder, still far away, but sweet, tender, echoing like a memory. Scooby stands, tail slowly wagging. Maybe she's lonely. Coraline smiles sadly. Maybe she's waiting for someone to listen. The gang exchanges glances, soft, knowing smiles. Velma murmurs, "Sounds like another mystery." Fred nods. "Let's check it out tonight." As dusk falls, the air fills with orange and lavender light. The sea glimmers, the horizon melting into color. The gang prepares lanterns and flashlights, ready to follow the song when it returns with the tide. Shaggy looks at you, sleepy friend, with a grin. Like, ready for another gentle ghost adventure? Scooby leans close, his fur brushing your arm. "Love ya," he whispers. "We do together." The stars begin to rise slow and steady. The lighthouse beam sweeps across the waves, and somewhere beyond the rocks, the faintest shimmer moves with the rhythm of the sea. The melody returns clear now, almost like a lullaby again, but sadder. It calls to them softly, a voice from water and wind. The gang stands together at the edge of the sand, holding lanterns that glow like captured starlight. Oh, Fred takes a deep breath. "All right, gang, let's find out what the sea's been singing about." Scooby nods, tail curling around your leg as if to say, "Don't worry, we'll solve it together." And with that, the soft surf laps at their feet. The melody leads them forward, and the next mystery begins, not in fear, but in love, moonlight, and the calm heartbeat of the sea. The stars hang like lanterns in a dark blue sky. The moon is bright but quiet, casting silver trails across the waves. Down at the edge of the Seabreeze Point, the tide is high, brushing against the rocks, swirling in slow rhythm, like the heartbeat of the ocean. The gang walks together, their lanterns swinging gently. Their footprints fade as soon as the water kisses the sand. The sea breeze hums softly through the air, carrying that same tender melody, the one they heard from the inn. Fred leads the way, his light steady. Daphne walks beside him, her scarf fluttering in the wind. Velma holds her notebook, jotting soft observations between waves. And behind them, Shaggy and Scooby shuffle along, huddled close, tired, but curious. Scooby looks up at the stars and whispers to you, "Ruh, pretty night, huh?" His voice is soft, almost drowsy. He smiles a sleepy smile. Love when sky shines. The melody grows a little clearer now, a woman's voice, calm and smooth as silk. It drifts between the cliffs, echoing in soft ripples. Daphne pauses. "It sounds like it's coming from the rocks." Fred nods. "There might be caves beneath them sea caves." Velma adjusts her glasses, peering toward the cliffs. "That would explain the echo. Let's check the base at the low tide." Scooby gulps, peeking at the dark archways in the stone. Dark." Shaggy pats his back. "Like I know, buddy. But remember, we've got each other and snacks." Scooby's ears perk up. "Snacks?" Shaggy grins, pulling out a small sandwich wrapped in paper. "Emergency rations." Scooby giggles and takes a bite. Yummy courage." Their laughter mixes with the sound of the waves, light and warm. The gang follows a narrow path that winds down between two cliffs. Moss glows faintly in the moonlight, and shells glimmer like tiny stars on the wet stones. The further they go, the louder the song becomes. Finally, they reach a small opening, a cave mouth, half hidden behind a curtain of ivy and mist. The air is cool, damp, and filled with the sound of dripping water. Fred shines his lantern ahead. The cave walls shimmer with tiny crystals, catching the light and scattering it like gentle rainbows. Daphne whispers, "It's beautiful." Velma traces her hand along the stone. "Looks like the tide shaped this place for years." The melody echoes softly, not haunting, but hopeful, like someone singing to be found. Shaggy shivers slightly, like I feel like we're walking into a dream. Scooby nods, his paw brushing your arm. Dream mystery. They move deeper into the cave until they reach a wide chamber filled with shallow water that glows faint blue. At the center sits a smooth rock shaped almost like a bench, and on it something delicate, a small silver locket. Fred kneels to pick it up, opening it gently. Inside is a faded picture of two smiling women in lighthouse coats, arms around each other, standing on the same beach. On the back, the engraving reads, "For as long as our lights shine, no ship shall ever be lost." Velma breathes out. The twin sisters. Suddenly, the water ripples, not sharply, but like someone stepping into it softly. The air fills with a pale glow, and the melody stops. Then, from the far end of the cave, a gentle light rises, not blinding, but soothing, like moonlight reflected through water. A shape appears faint, shimmering, peaceful. A woman's figure made of sea mist and starlight. She looks almost like the ghost from the lighthouse, but different, softer, dressed in a flowing coat that moves like the tide itself. Her voice comes slow and kind. "You found my locket." Scooby gasps softly. Ruh, you the singer?" The figure nods, her smile small but warm. "I was the one who sang to the ships, while my sister kept the light above. When the storm took me, I sang beneath the sea, so no sailor would lose their way." Velma steps closer, voice gentle. "Your sister kept the lighthouse burning all this time." The woman's eyes shimmer like water under sunlight. And now, she rests. But her light still shines. You helped her find peace. Fred looks up at the ceiling of the cave, where a crack lets the moonlight in. "Maybe it's time we helped you too." The figure tilts her head. "How?" Daphne looks around, thinking. "You sang to guide the lost. Maybe you just need to hear your song reach home again." Velma nods. "If we play the same melody at the lighthouse, if we let it echo between the tower and the shore, it could reunite the twin lights." Scooby's tail wags gently. "Ruh, bring sisters together." The spirit smiles, her form flickering softly. "If you do, the sea will be calm again." She steps forward, the glow wrapping the gang in warmth like a hug made of light. "You've all carried kindness in your hearts, and you—" She looks right at you, her gaze so soft you can almost feel it. "You've carried courage. You remind even the sea to rest." Scooby leans against you gently, eyes closing halfway. True. My friend Brave." The glow fades, leaving the locket gleaming faintly in the lantern light. Fred pockets it carefully. "Let's take this back to the lighthouse." As they make their way out, the tide whispers behind them, calm and rhythmic. Outside, the night air feels lighter, the stars clearer. Shaggy stretches. "Like, I don't know about you guys, but this ghost story feels kind of peaceful." Daphne smiles. "That's the best kind." Velma adds softly, "Sometimes the past doesn't want to haunt, it just wants to be remembered." Scooby nods, tail brushing your hand. Remembered with love." They walk back toward the inn, the moon following like a friend. The wind hums softly through the grass, the same melody as before, but now warm and whole. When they reach the porch, Miss Coraline is waiting, a lantern in her hands. "You heard her song, didn't you?" Fred nods, placing the locket in her palm. She's waiting to be reunited with her sister. Coraline's eyes glisten. "Then tomorrow, we'll light both flames once more." The gang settles in for the night. Velma sketches the cave in her journal. Daphne hums the sea's melody by the window. Shaggy and Scooby curl up by the fire, bellies full and hearts steady. Scooby's paw rests on your blanket, his eyes half closed. "Night, sleepy friend." he murmurs, voice thick with love. Thank you for being part of the gang. The fire crackles softly. The sea sings outside. And before long, Scooby's slow breathing matches yours, calm, rhythmic, safe. The mystery isn't finished yet, but the night feels peaceful. Because Scooby loves you. And that love, like the twin lights, will never go out. The first light of dawn comes slowly, not rushing, but stretching across the sea like a soft sigh. The mist curls away from the cliffs, and the world glows faint gold. Birds sing gentle morning notes, and the waves hush as if listening. Inside Seabreeze Inn, the gang wakes to the smell of pancakes and sea breeze. Miss Coraline hums in the kitchen, her song blending with the rhythm of the waves. Scooby stretches, yawns a big sleepy "Raho," then nestles closer to you before sitting up, blinking the last bits of dream away. Morning," he mumbles softly. Pretty day?" Shaggy rubs his eyes. Like, if it's as peaceful as last night, I'm good. Velma tucks her notebook under her arm. We still have one thing to finish, bringing both lights back to life. Fred nods, sipping cocoa. We'll need to reach the lighthouse before a high tide. Daphne ties her scarf, smiling. And maybe bring that locket. The twin lights deserve to shine together again. Miss Coraline joins them, holding the silver locket in her hands. Its surface catches the morning glow, reflecting tiny stars. She's waiting, she says softly. And so is her sister. The gang packs their gear lanterns, ropes, a small radio, and sandwiches, Scooby insisted. As they step outside, the world feels new again. The sea is calm, almost still. The lighthouse stands tall against the horizon, its single beam still glowing faintly, like a heart that hasn't stopped beating. The path up the cliff is quiet. Pebbles crunch softly underfoot. The breeze carries the faintest trace of last night's song, the same gentle tune, but softer now, content. Scooby trots beside you, tail swaying slowly. We fixed light today, he says proudly. Then he leans his head against your arm. Love you, sleepy friend. At the lighthouse, Fred unlocks the heavy door and pushes it open. The air inside is cool, filled with the scent of salt and oil. Dust floats in golden beams of sunlight. Velma sets her bag down. According to the town archives, there used to be a second lens, smaller, but designed to mirror the first. It must have been lost when the storms came. Daphne looks up the winding staircase. Maybe it's still here, hidden somewhere. They begin to search. Fred checks the storage room below. Velma examines the mechanical panels. Daphne brushes away cobwebs from old crates. Shaggy and Scooby, meanwhile, look around the corner where an old trunk sits, covered in a faded tarp. Like maybe there's a snack in there, Scoob. Scooby tilts his head. Or a light? They lift the lid carefully. Inside, wrapped in old linen, lies something round and glassy, a small lens, its edges trimmed in silver. It glints faintly, even in the dim light. Wow, Scooby whispers. Found it, Shaggy grins. Like, man, who needs luck when you got Scooby sniffer power? Fred hurries over. That's it. The second lens. They carry it carefully up the spiral stairs to the lantern chamber, where morning light pours in through the windows. The great rotating lens hums softly as it turns, slow and steady. Velma fits the smaller lens into its place beside the main beam. It clicks gently into the slot as if it always belonged there. Fred turns the mechanism. All right, gang. Let's see if she still remembers how to shine. The light flickers once, twice, then catches. A second beam bursts forth, not harsh, but warm and golden, glowing side by side with the first. The chamber fills with a soft hum. The glass glows brighter, the air warmer. Outside, the twin lights sweep over the sea, two shining arms reaching toward each other, touching, then crossing. The waves sparkle where they meet, and for a moment, the horizon looks like it's smiling. Then, the melody returns. Soft, clear, full. It echoes through the cliffs, rolling over the town like sunlight in song. From the lantern's glow, a faint shimmer appears, the gentle figure of the lighthouse keeper they met before. She stands tall, her eyes wide with wonder as the light envelops her. And then beside her, another glow forms, the second sister, the one from the sea. Her hair floats like ribbons of light, her face calm and kind. They look at each other, and even though no words are spoken, you can feel everything, the love, the years, the peace. The first sister reaches out. I knew you were still singing. The other smiles softly. And I knew you'd never stop shining. They embrace, light folding into light. The chamber hums with warmth. Scooby's eyes glisten. Ruh, they happy, he whispers. Fred bows his head. They found each other again. Velma closes her notebook slowly. Twin lights, twin souls, whole again. The sisters turn to the gang, their smiles serene. Thank you, they say together, their voices like sea and sky blended. You've given us peace. Then they turn to you. Their glow softens around you like a blanket of gold. You've kept courage and kindness alive, one whispers. And now the sea can rest, says the other. Their light drifts outward, merging with the beams until all that remains is warmth, and a single echo of their song fading slowly into silence. For a moment, the gang just stands there, bathed in the soft golden glow. No one speaks. The world feels still, whole, complete. Then Scooby lets out a deep, content sigh. Love happy endings. Shaggy chuckles. Me too, buddy. Me too. They watch the sun rise higher, painting the water in ribbons of pink and orange. The twin lights spin slowly, casting warmth across the sea. Down below, the town begins to wake. Bells ring faintly. Windows open. People look toward the lighthouse and smile, feeling a peace they can't quite explain. Fred rests his hand on the railing. We did it, gang. Velma smiles. The light will keep shining for everyone. Daphne leans against the wall, eyes soft. And maybe for us too. Scooby turns toward you, his face glowing in the morning light. He gives that familiar, sleepy grin, the one that makes you feel safe, calm, loved. Love you, he says again in that soft, Scooby way. Wherever light goes, you, my friend. You can almost feel his warmth fur against your arm, the steady rhythm of his heart. Outside, gulls circle lazily. The sea shimmers like glass. The gang heads down the stairs together, slow and peaceful. They leave the lighthouse door open, letting sunlight spill in, a promise that the light will never fade again. Back in the mystery machine, Scooby curls up in the back seat, his head resting on your lap. His breathing evens out. His tail twitches once, then stills. Fred starts the engine softly. Velma hums the sea's melody under her breath. Daphne leans on the window, smiling. Shaggy unwraps a sandwich, whispering, like breakfast in peace, best kind. And the van rolls down the winding road, the lighthouse glowing behind them, the sea glittering, and Scooby asleep with a smile, dreaming of you and of light that lasts forever. The road curves gently along the cliffs. Waves roll in steady rhythm, brushing the rocks below like the heartbeat of the sea. Seabreeze Town wakes, slowly shutters opening, soft laughter in the distance, and the smell of freshly baked bread drifting through the air. The mystery machine hums softly. Fred drives with an easy hand on the wheel, his eyes bright but calm. Daphne leans out the window, hair catching sunlight, smiling as the ocean wind brushes her cheeks. Velma flips through her notes, but she's not really studying. Her eyes linger on the horizon. Shaggy chews quietly on a bagel, like it's nice when nobody's chasing us. Scooby sits curled up beside you, head resting on your lap, tail swaying softly. His fur is warm. Every few seconds he gives a little sleepy sigh, the kind that sounds like a puppy dream. Peaceful, he murmurs. Fred glances in the mirror. We'll stop in town to say goodbye before we hit the road. Velma nods. They'll want to know the lighthouse is restored. Daphne smiles. And maybe they'll sing again. The van rolls slowly into town. Morning light spills through the cobblestone streets, turning puddles into silver mirrors. Children run past, laughing, their kites fluttering like bits of sky. Old fishermen wave, their weathered faces breaking into grins when they spot the mystery machine. Miss Coralyn stands outside her inn, apron fluttering in the wind, a basket of fresh muffins in her hands. "You've done it," she calls, voice trembling with joy. "The lights are back." Fred parks the van near her garden, where flowers sway in salty air. "All thanks to a certain brave dog," he says with a grin. Scooby lifts his head, blinking shyly. "Rummy?" Daphne kneels and scratches his chin. "Yes, you, Scooby-Doo, the bravest pup in all of Seabreeze Town." The crowd gathers townsfolk from every corner, fishermen, bakers' children, even the old keeper's cat perched on a fence. They all cheer softly, clapping hands and whistling through the morning light. Velma holds up the old locket, shining now that the curse is lifted. The light inside glows faintly, pulsing like a heartbeat. "It belonged to the keeper," she explains. "It carried her love, and now it carries peace." A hush falls over the crowd. Miss Coralyn steps forward, eyes glistening. "My grandmother told me stories about those sisters," she whispers. "She said their bond was stronger than the storms, that love could keep a light burning even through time." Fred smiles gently. Seems she was right. From somewhere near the dock, an old man pulls out a small concertina, the kind that plays slow sea songs. He begins a tune, the same one the spirits sang, but slower, softer, like a lullaby. The melody fills the square. People sway gently, holding hands, eyes half closed. The sea hums in rhythm, waves keeping time. Scooby presses closer to you, his head heavy on your shoulder now. His fur smells faintly of salt and sunshine. "Rosang's pretty," he whispers, voice thick with drowsy warmth. "It feels like dream." You can feel the warmth from him, the quiet comfort that always follows after a long day of mystery and courage. Daphne hums along, her voice sweet and light. Shaggy munches another muffin, smiling lazily. "Like this town should make lullabies more often." Velma sits beside Miss Coralyn, noting quietly, "Harmony restored through shared memory, that's beautiful." Fred leans back against the van. Sometimes the best mysteries end in peace. The sun climbs higher and the music softens. A few children run up to Scooby, giggling. They hug him around his neck. He blinks in surprise, then smiles that big, goofy Scooby smile. "Love hugs," he says softly. One little girl looks up at him, eyes bright. "Thank you for saving the lights, Mr. Scooby." Scooby's tail swishes, brushing against your leg. You're welcome," he says with a sleepy grin. Miss Coralyn steps forward again, handing Scooby a warm, round biscuit. "Freshly baked, my hero." He takes it delicately, gives a happy thank you, and then nudges half of it toward you. "For you," he adds softly. "Share." The crowd slowly disperses as noon turns to afternoon. The gang spends the rest of the day walking the beach, watching the waves and picking up smooth white stones. Fred finds a small shell shaped like a heart and gives it to Daphne. Velma takes one last note in her journal. Mystery solved. Spirits at peace. Light eternal. Scooby chases seagulls for a moment, then returns to you, panting gently. He lies down in the sand beside you, his head resting against your knee. The breeze ruffles his ears. "A nice day," he whispers. The waves shimmer. The sun turns golden. The town glows with the easy rhythm of peace. Miss Coraline's voice carries faintly through the air. She's singing that same sea lullaby again, this time for everyone, her words blending with the hush of the tide. Scooby hums along quietly, his tail thumping once in the sand. He looks up at you, eyes soft and sleepy. "We're happy you're here," he says. "You make adventures feel safe." You can feel your heartbeat slow, your shoulders sink into calm. The ocean whispers nearby, a steady hush, in and out like the world breathing with you. The rest of the gang sits nearby, watching the sunset grow richer, the sky painted with gold and lavender. Fred's voice is low and content. "Tomorrow we'll head to our next mystery." Daphne smiles dreamily. "But tonight we rest." Velma nods. "And remember that not every unknown is scary. Sometimes it's just waiting to be loved." Shaggy yawns. "Like, dude, that's deep. Now pass another muffin." They all laugh softly, their voices fading into the soft hum of waves. Scooby sighs again, closing his eyes halfway. "Love, sleepy friend," he murmurs, barely above a whisper. "You brave too, just like me." His breathing evens. The sun touches the horizon, painting everything in amber and rose. The sea glows one last time before twilight settles, warm and still. You stay there for a moment, hand resting on Scooby's fur, feeling the quiet between you, that special kind of silence that feels like being hugged by the world itself. The town's bells chime softly into the distance. The lights in the lighthouse flicker on again, twin beams sweeping gently across the water, guiding every dream home. And Scooby. He whispers in his sleep words soft as wind. "Love ya. Always." The sun has sunk beyond the horizon now. The sea glimmers like spilled starlight, every ripple catching a piece of the moon. The air is cool, soft, and quiet, the kind of quiet that feels alive, full of tiny whispers and faraway dreams. The mystery machine sits parked near the edge of the cliff, headlights dimmed, its blue and green sides glowing faintly in the moonlight. The gang has made a small campfire, nothing wild, just a little circle of light flickering against the soft sound of the waves. Fred sits with his arms around his knees, gazing out toward the lighthouse. "She's still shining," he says softly. "Still keeping watch." Velma nods, closing her notebook. "Some lights don't fade, they just pass from one heart to another." Daphne adds quietly, "And sometimes they find their way back home." Shaggy yawns, stretching. "Like I vote we camp here forever, man. Pancakes in the morning, sea breeze every night." Fred chuckles. "Tempting, Shaggy. But I think there'll always be another mystery waiting." Scooby stirs beside you, opening one eye. His fur glows silver in the moonlight. His ears twitch gently. "Ruh. Mystery later," he murmurs. "Sleep now." Everyone laughs softly, that warm, easy laughter that comes when fear is gone and peace fills its place. The night grows deeper. The town's lights twinkle below like stars on earth. Somewhere, Miss Coraline sings her lullaby again, the same one that echoed through the lighthouse, now turned into a song for everyone. Her voice drifts through the air, weaving between the firelight and the sea breeze. Shine, twin lights, shine through the dark. Guide every heart home, leave your mark. One from the sea, one from the shore, together forever, forevermore. Scooby's ears twitch. His tail thumps once, slow and sleepy. "Real love song," he mumbles. "Real love night." He leans against you, heavy and warm, and sighs a long, happy sigh. You can feel his weight, the way his breathing slows with the rhythm of the waves. The gang grows quiet. The fire crackles softly. The sea hums. Fred lowers his voice. "You know, gang, we've solved hundreds of mysteries, but this one had felt different." Velma smiles faintly. "It wasn't about fear this time. It was about love that never gave up." Daphne looks at the sea, her eyes reflecting moonlight. "And that's the best kind of mystery." Shaggy nods, half asleep already. "Like love's the only thing that doesn't need unmasking." They all laugh softly again, then fall silent, watching the horizon. The lighthouse beams sweep slowly over the ocean, one golden, one silver, crossing paths again and again. Each time they meet, the sea shimmers a little brighter, as if whispering, "Thank you." Scooby's head slips into your lap again. He's fully relaxed now, his paws twitching slightly as if he's chasing something gentle in a dream. He whispers, half dreaming, half awake, "Real love you, sleepy friend. You good mystery, too." The night deepens. Stars spill across the sky like glittering crumbs. The air hums softly with warmth, even in the cool breeze. You can hear every little sound, the soft rhythm of the waves, the sleepy chirp of crickets, the faint hiss of the dying fire. All of it blends together like a lullaby made by the world itself. Fred finally stretches, lying back on his blanket. "Let's rest here tonight," he says. "The road can wait till morning." Velma adjusts her glasses one last time before setting them aside. "For once, I agree." Daphne wraps herself in a shawl, smiling toward the sea. "Good night, sea breeze." Shaggy's voice is already fading. "Good night, pancakes." Scooby mumbles softly, tail curling near your hand. "Run-eye. Sleepy friend." You look up at the sky, thousands of stars blinking like tiny lighthouses. Each one feels like a little piece of warmth, a little piece of the story still shining above you. And for a moment it feels like the whole universe is breathing in sync waves, stars, wind, you, Scooby, all part of the same gentle heartbeat. The twin lights sweep one last time, crossing each other perfectly, before fading into a softer rhythm, steady, calm, endless. Miss Coraline's voice drifts faintly again, slower now, softer. "Sleep, twin hearts, your journey's through. The night is kind, the sea is true. Dream of love, of peace, of home, for light and courage never roam." Scooby sighs once more. His paw rests lightly on your arm. His breathing slows into perfect stillness, deep, easy, full of comfort. The fire fades to embers. The stars seem to hum. The waves keep their rhythm, gentle and unending. You close your eyes, and in the quiet between breaths, you can still hear him, that soft, familiar voice that feels like home. "I love you. Always." The wind carries it out across the cliffs, into the sea and up to the stars where the twin lights shine forever, guiding every dreamer home. And as sleep takes you too, you realize Scooby's love is still there, warm and glowing, curled right beside your heart. Now let's move to the next classic cartoon lore, Sleepy Friend. We're drifting into the funny, clumsy, sweet little world of ededdneddy, where cul-de-sac dreams glow under streetlights, where jawbreakers sparkle like treasure, and where friendship is loud, silly, and full of heart. Tonight, the boys aren't chasing schemes or shouting across lawns. Tonight, they're soft, sleepy, gentle, and they love you just as much as you love them. So settle in, breathe slow. This is a cozy bedtime adventure with the 3 EDs drifting under a warm twilight sky. The cul-de-sac is quiet tonight. Not the usual chaos, not the whirl of bikes or the clatter of scampering feet, but a peaceful hush, like the whole neighborhood has taken a deep breath and settled into dream time. The sky glows purple and honey gold from the last bit of sunset. Crickets chirp. A few porch lights hum softly, casting gentle halos on the grass. Ed is lying on his back on the lawn, staring at the sky as if waiting for shooting stars. His jacket is spread underneath him like a blanket. He hums a little tune, off-key but warm, as if he can hear music in the clouds. Ed Double D sits beside him with a notebook in his lap, but tonight, he's not scribbling calculations or diagrams. He's simply breathing, relaxing, letting the calm settle on him like the softest blanket. His hat shifts slightly in the breeze, but he doesn't adjust it for once. He's not fussing. Eddie sits cross-legged near them, arms folded, pretending he isn't enjoying the peaceful evening, but his smile gives him away. There's no scheme in his pockets tonight, just the quiet possibility of starlight and soft laughter. Do you ever think, Ed begins dreamily, voice floating like a balloon, that the stars are just sleepy fireflies trying their best? Double D looks up, eyes glimmering with gentle curiosity. What a beautiful thought, Ed. Stars, fireflies, both sources of light in darkness, both gentle reminders to dream. Eddie chuckles softer than usual. You two sound like a bedtime book. But there's no teasing edge, only warmth, only comfort. You sit near them, feeling grass beneath your palms, the cool earth steady and soothing. Eddie glances at you, grin relaxing into something softer, more honest. Glad you're here, pal. Whole cul-de-sac feels nicer when you're around. Ed rolls over suddenly and hugs your leg like a pillow. You're my favorite potato buddy, he mumbles happily. Double D blushes politely and folds his hands. Indeed, your presence brings tranquility. We appreciate you. His voice trembles slightly, not from shyness, but from sincerity too big to hide. A soft breeze rustles the trees. Leaves shimmer like little paper wishes. Everything is slow and gentle the way dreams begin. Eddie flops backward into the grass. No scams, no chases, just quiet. Kinda nice, huh? Ed nods, eyes half closed. Quiet is like mashed potatoes for the brain. Double D laughs softly, the kind of laugh that feels like warm tea on a winter morning. That is unexpectedly poetic, Ed. The sky deepens to navy blue. Stars blink awake one by one like sleepy friends stretching before settling into the night. Eddie sighs, long and content. You ever notice nights like this don't need plans? They just happen. Double D leans back, hands behind him, posture finally loose and relaxed. Yes, Eddie? Sometimes the most meaningful moments are unstructured. Just being together. Ed nudges your shoulder gently. Thanks for being here. You make the grass comfy. Eddie looks at you again, softer now and almost shy. Yeah, seriously. You make things better, even for loudmouths like me. His voice drifts slower. Feels safe when you're around. Crickets keep singing. Streetlights hum. A warm, sleepy hush folds over everything like a blanket made of dusk. Oh, Double D tilts his head up at the stars and whispers, rest is important. Peace is earned. And tonight we rest. Ed yawns loudly, then wraps his arms around himself like he's cuddling an invisible teddy bear. I like stars. I like grass. I like friends. Eddy grins softly, his voice thick with drowsiness. Yeah, I like friends too. He glances at you. Especially you. You're like the comfy part of the day. The world feels warm, safe, still. The Edwards settle around you, like sleepy puppies with mismatched personalities and the biggest hearts. Ed hums again, soft, childlike, fading like a dream. Double D closes his notebook, letting his mind rest for once, trusting the quiet. Eddy scoots a little closer, pretending it's for warmth and not because he feels safe near you. The night deepens. Your breaths all sink, slow and gentle, like you're drifting together. Fireflies blink near the fence. A soft breeze smells like summer and childhood and comfort. The cul-de-sac, usually loud and bright, rests like a cradle under moonlight. And in that hush, Ed whispers, "You're special." Double D adds softly, "You are cherished." Eddy murmurs, voice sleepy and real, "We love having you here. Don't go anywhere." And the night holds those words warm, glowing, safe, cradling them like stars. The summer air settles into a hush, warm, gentle, and cozy like a favorite blanket left out in the sun. The cul-de-sac glimmers with porch lights, glowing like tiny suns guiding sleepy souls home. Some windows glow with soft lamps, others rest in peaceful darkness, curtains swaying as if breathing. Ed stretches his arms high, like a giant waking from a nap, and slowly rolls onto his feet. "Let's walk the sleepy earth," he says happily, eyes half closed. He says it like a poet who doesn't know he's a poet, a dreamer wrapped in comic books and kindness. Double D rises too, dusting grass from his shorts, but gently, not obsessively. There's something calming about strolling familiar spaces at night, he murmurs. His voice floats like a breeze. "Shall we explore?" Eddy rubs his eyes, pretending not to be as soft as the moment feels. Yeah, whatever," he grumbles, then quietly adds, "Sounds nice." You all begin walking. Slow steps. Light tonight feels softer, like the world put on fuzzy socks and lowered its voice. Ed leads the way, swinging his arms gently. "Look," he says in awe, pointing at a streetlight. "It's a glowing marshmallow of safety." Eddy chuckles under his breath. "You're such a goof, Ed." But his smile stays. And he walks just a little closer to the light, too. Double D adjusts his hat slightly, but not out of nerves, only because the night breeze plays with it. "Streetlights are comforting," he agrees. "They remind us we're never alone." A few yards away, Rolf's pasture gate creaks in the night wind. Goats are already asleep, curled like clouds with horns. A haystack looks like a sleepy mountain. Rolf's flag flutters gently. No dramatic hero sounds, just soft cloth whispers. Ed pauses, eyes shining. "Good night, Moosheeps," he whispers. He waves at the goats. They don't stir, but if goats dream, they probably dream in warmth like this. You walk on. The sidewalk feels smooth underfoot. Every step sounds like a quiet heartbeat in the summer stillness. Some fireflies hover by the fences, blinking like tiny lantern souls trying to say hello. Eddy watches them, grin melting into something tender. "Never noticed how cool they are," he mutters. Then almost shyly, "Thanks for showing me, guys. And you too." He nudges you gently with his shoulder, pretending it's playful, but the softness gives it away. Double D leans in slightly, tone affectionate and proud. Awareness blooms when hearts are calm. Ed gently tries to catch a firefly, but ends up staring at it instead, amazed. "You shine like pancakes," he whispers. The firefly blinks twice as if agreeing. You pass by Naz's porch. Backyard lights hang like fairy stars. A hammock sways empty, waiting for tomorrow's sunshine laughter. A bicycle rests peacefully against the wall. No racing tonight, just rest. Double D smiles at it. Even wheels deserve stillness. Eddy squints at him. "You always talk like fortune cookies at bedtime." Double D giggles, softly, a rare, delicate sound. "Perhaps only tonight." Ed pats your back suddenly but softly, like a cloud giving a hug. "You make the night cuddly," he says. Eddy looks at you too, face open in the quiet. "Yeah, things feel better with you around." A gentle breeze rustles the leaves. Houses stand like sleepy guardians. The cul-de-sac, so loud during the day, hums with peace now, as if the moon brushed every noise into kindness. You reach Johnny's fence. Plank rests against it, peaceful and still. Even wooden friends sleep. Ed salutes Plank quietly. "Good night, noble wood knight." Double D nods respectfully. "Sweet dreams, Plank." Eddy rolls his eyes, but whispers anyway. "Night, buddy." The stars above sparkle like spilled sugar. A warm hush flows through the street, friendly, gentle, protective. Eddy glances at you, voice softer than it's ever been. "Hey, thanks for being here. Not just tonight. Always." Ed lifts his arms like he's hugging the entire sky. "We love you like buttered toast." Double D places his hand delicately over his chest. "Yeah, we truly do. You are appreciated beyond words." The night wraps around you, not dark, but cozy, velvety, safe. And in that stillness, the three boys, loud, chaotic, ridiculous by day, glow like the sweetest kind of friends at night. Slow steps move forward again. Lights twinkle. Air sighs. You drift deeper into comfort with every breath. Eddy finally murmurs, "Let's keep walking. With you, it feels like we could walk forever and never get lost." And together you do, one sleepy step at a time. Now we go deeper into the world of the cul-de-sac. And in this chapter, we find the EDs chasing their favorite dream again, jawbreakers. But this time the plan wasn't just silly. It bordered on strange. Eddy woke up that day with a spark in his eyes and mischief in his soul. He rushed to the others, waving a crooked paper in the air like a treasure map. "Boys, I finally cracked the code. A guaranteed, foolproof, 100% money-making scam." His voice had that hyper, buzzing confidence, like he already tasted the sweet, sugary victory of jawbreakers melting in his mouth. Ed clapped like an excited toddler, shouting, "Yay, eat chickens and gravy." No one asked what that meant. They stopped trying years ago. Double D adjusted his hat nervously. "Eddy, last time you said foolproof, Ed got stuck inside a mailbox for 3 hours." Ed smiled dreamily. "It was cozy." Eddy rolled his eyes. "Trust me, sockhead, this is genius." And what was the great plan? Eddy decided the cul-de-sac kids needed luxury lawn tours. Yes, tours. Of lawns. In a neighborhood where everyone had the same grass. Eddy grabbed a rope and set up chairs on a wagon. He called it the Cul-de-Sac Royal Nature Expedition Tour. For 1/4, kids would sit while Ed pulled the wagon, and Eddy narrated like a dramatic TV host. Double D, he carried brochures. Real brochures. Handmade. With leaf facts and scribbles. "I can't believe I used watercolor for this," he muttered. At first, shockingly, one person joined. "Johnny 2 X4. He sat proudly with Plank strapped next to him like a wooden VIP guest. "This tour better show me premium grass," Johnny said seriously. Eddy puffed his chest. "Buddy, you're about to witness world-class blades," the tour began. Ed pulled the wagon with heroic strength, stomping like a dinosaur on a mission. Eddy narrated loudly. "To your left, behold grass, and to your right, more grass." Johnny gasped. Plank said nothing because, well, Plank. Double D handed out brochures with trembling partners. "Please note the varying chlorophyll concentration." And for a brief, magical second, it almost worked, until Sarah and Jimmy appeared. Hands on hips, eyes narrowed. The enders of peace. "What are you idiots doing?" Eddy smirked. "Making money, baby." Sarah cracked her knuckles. "You're charging people to look at grass?" Jimmy, clutching his juice box, squeaked, "This is unethical." They kicked the wagon. Johnny fell. Plank flipped dramatically like an action hero. Chaos. Screams. Ed running in circles, yelling, "The grass is alive!" Tour destroyed. Scam ruined. Eddy face down on the ground, whispering, "I was so close." Double D patted his back. "At least we learned something." Eddy groaned. "Yeah, Sarah's a monster." Ed picked up a leaf, smiling. "I like grass." And that night, even in defeat, there was comfort. The boys sat under a streetlight, sharing the one jawbreaker they managed to find between couch cushions, passing it around, laughing, dreaming of scams to come. Because in the cul-de-sac, failure wasn't the end. It was just the start of the next ridiculous idea. And deep down, they didn't chase jawbreakers for sugar. They chased the thrill of mischief, friendship, and the chaos of childhood. Together. Always together. Night falls on the cul-de-sac. That warm, golden childhood dusk turns into quiet shadows. Street lamps flicker. Crickets hum. And the neighborhood suddenly feels bigger, older, mysterious. And tonight, the EDs stumble into a game they never expected to play. Eddy was pacing like a general preparing for war. No scams tomorrow, no schemes, no tours. Tonight, we prove we're the coolest kids in the cul-de-sac. Double D blinked. "Eddy, it's almost 10 p.m. Children our age need proper sleep." Eddy cut him off. "Sleep is for quitters, sockhead." Ed saluted dramatically, wearing a bucket as a helmet. "I am ready to defend the galaxy." "We're not going to space, lumpy." Just when Eddy thought the universe was against him, a sound echoed. Thump, thump, thump. A glowing ball rolled slowly out from behind a hedge. A handwritten note taped to it. Double D swallowed. "Oh dear." Eddy picked it up and read aloud. "Midnight tag. No running home. No backing out. Tag the unseen, or be tagged forever." Eddy's face dropped. "Forever?" Ed gasped happily. "Forever friends?" Before they could argue, shapes appeared in the shadows. Rolf, Kevin, Naz, Jimmy, Sarah. Silent, serious. Watching. Not kids anymore. But mysterious players in an ancient neighborhood ritual. Kevin cracked a glow stick like a hunter from another world. "You wanted to hang with the big kids? Prove it." Naz smirked gently. "Don't be scared. It's just a game." Jimmy whispered, "I hope they survive." Eddy whispered back, pale. "What kind of game is this?" The ball glowed brighter. A breeze rushed through the cul-de-sac like a whisper. The streetlights dimmed. Double D trembled. "This feels wrong." Ed grinned at the darkness. "Hi, spooky friends." Then the rules changed. The shadows moved. Something unseen ran behind them. Tag, tag, Soft whispers in the air, like childhood myths coming alive. Eddy spun, panicking. "Who's there? Show yourself!" Double D clutched Ed's sleeve. "Stay together! Whatever you do, don't get separated!" Too late? Ed wandered toward a glowing bush. "Ooh, shiny!" He vanished with a giggle. "Ed!" Leaves rustled. Distant, playful laughter echoed. Was it Ed? Or something else? Eddy and Double D stood back to back. Street shadows stretched like fingers. The cul-de-sac never felt so vast and wild. Then a voice whispered right behind them. "Tag. You're it." They spun, but no one was there. Eddy cracked. "I don't like this game anymore." Double D stammered. "I never liked it to begin with." Suddenly, Ed burst out of nowhere, covered in leaves, proudly holding the glowing ball. "I found the unseen. It was a squirrel." The others emerged laughing. Flashlights clicked on. "Game over." Kevin fist-bumped Ed. "You actually played it right, big guy." Rolf nodded solemnly. "You have shown bravery worthy of the ancient chicken warriors." Eddy collapsed in relief. Double D wiped sweat like he survived a battlefield. And the truth settled in. Sometimes, the cul-de-sac wasn't about scams or jawbreakers or chaos. Sometimes it felt like a secret world where childhood wasn't just fun, it was magic, mystery, adventure. And tonight, the EDs belonged. The night settled into that gentle, sleepy stillness, where porch lights glow like tiny stars, and sprinklers whisper across distant lawns. And in the cul-de-sac, the world felt soft again, safe again, a warm blanket of peaceful childhood magic. But peace never lasted long with the EDs, because while most kids would go home after a spooky midnight game, Eddy had a new mission already swirling in his wild little mind. He whispered dramatically, "Tonight, boys, we make history." Double D blinked. "Please tell me this history involves rest and hydration." Eddy grinned, eyes twinkling like a kid who just discovered buried treasure. "No, sockhead, better. We're going after the ultimate prize." Ed gasped. "Chocolate-covered pickles?" "No. The original jawbreaker recipe." The wind hushed, like the world was listening. Legends whispered through the neighborhood forever claimed that somewhere, in someone's backyard, lay the shed of the first jawbreaker maker. And tonight, Eddy had a map. Well, more like a napkin scribbled with crayon arrows and a ketchup stain shaped like destiny. They tiptoed past fences, sneaking like spy kids on a sugar mission. Eddy led the way with swagger, Double D with caution, and Ed with raw enthusiasm and a bucket on his head for brain safety. "Eddy," Double D whispered, "you drew this map 5 minutes ago using condiments." "Greatness can't wait, sockhead." Ed hummed softly, carrying a flashlight, and a rock like both were sacred ancient tools. "Jawbreaker gods, we are coming." Fireflies floated around them like magical tiny lanterns. Crickets sang. Everything felt like a dream adventure just before sleep takes you. Their footsteps stopped at the edge of the cul-de-sac. A forgotten backyard. Grass, tall and silver under the moon. A rusty shed standing like an old secret. Eddy swallowed. "This is it." Double D adjusted his hat nervously. "Should we knock first? Or perhaps leave a polite note instead?" But Ed was already hugging the shed door. "Hello, Mystery House." The hinges creaked open like a sleepy giant waking up. Inside, dust floating like stars in a beam of moonlight. Shelves lined with jars. Old candy molds. Bright wrappers faded by time. and in the center, a wooden box carved with swirling candy shapes. Eddy gasped so loud it almost echoed. The Jawbreaker treasure chest. Double D placed a careful hand on the lid. Proceed gently, Eddy. Who knows what fragile, confectionery wonders lie within? Eddy flung it open. Inside was not candy, but a handwritten note. Faded, gentle, like a whisper from the past. Sweetness is not made in sugar. It is made in friendship. And beneath it, a single jawbreaker, glowing softly pink, like it had held childhood laughter for decades. The boys stared, silent, touched. Ed's eyes shimmered. That is the prettiest candy I have ever seen. Eddy didn't joke, didn't scheme, didn't think about selling it. He just smiled. A real soft smile. The kind kids have when they feel something pure. Double D placed a hand over his heart. What a beautiful sentiment. A reminder that the sweetest moments are the ones we share. Eddy nodded. Yeah, jawbreakers are awesome, but you guys are kind of awesome too. Ed crushed them in a bear hug. My best friends forever and ever and ever. They giggled like sleepy kids who just unlocked the meaning of their world. And the shed didn't feel spooky anymore. It felt like history. Warm, gentle, safe, just like childhood should feel. They stepped outside into the quiet night. The fireflies danced around them. The moon glowed like a guardian watching over every little dreamer. Eddy whispered, "Who needs candy when you got a night like this?" Ed answered, "I still like candy." Double D chuckled softly. "Rest assured, Ed, we can still pursue candy tomorrow." And with hearts full, the Eddies walked home through the sleepy cul-de-sac, their shadows stretching small and innocent beneath a wide, peaceful sky. Jawbreakers could wait. Dreams could too. For now, friendship was enough. More than enough. The world was whisper quiet now. The kind of stillness that only exists between night and morning, when dreams haven't finished breathing and the day hasn't yet decided to wake. The Eddies walked in soft steps, past sleeping houses and calm lawns, towards their favorite hill, the one that watched over the cul-de-sac like a gentle guardian. Grass brushed their ankles, cool with dew. The sky was a watercolor of deep purples and soft blues, a hint of gold warming slowly on the horizon. Ed stretched his arms with a happy sigh. Sleepy time for mighty heroes. Double D smiled. A day well lived, a night well cherished. Eddy scratched his head, trying to act casual even now, but you could hear the softness in his voice. We kind of nailed it tonight, didn't we? Ed threw his hands up, waking a distant bird. We are the Night Jawbreaker champions. Double D chuckled. Well, perhaps not champions in the conventional sense, but certainly victors of spirit and memory. Eddy smirked. Sockhead, you talk too much even when we win. Ed flopped down on the hill, hugging a little dandelion like it was a teddy. The grass bent around him like it was tucking him in. Double D set down his hat, folding his hands neatly, like a child who never quite learned how to not be proper. But his eyes were soft, warm, tired in the coziest way. Eddy sat, hugging his knees, looking at his friends like he wanted to pretend he wasn't grateful. But he was. Oh, he was. You know, he whispered, maybe life's not all about scams. Double D's eyes widened in mock surprise. Eddy, did you just have a moment of emotional clarity? Eddy shoved him lightly. Shut up, I can be deep too. Ed nodded seriously. You are deep like peanut butter jar. Eddy groaned, but then he laughed, a sleepy, honest laugh, and the sky brightened just a little. Birds whispered awake in the trees. A soft breeze carried the smell of morning grass and faraway pancakes that someone's mom was already making. "Hey," Eddy murmured, voice barely a breath. "You guys think we'll be friends forever?" Ed didn't hesitate. "Forever and a half," Double D answered, like a promise. "As long as the cul-de-sac exists in our hearts, we shall remain, Eddy." Eddy swallowed. He wasn't used to feelings, but for once, he didn't run. "Yeah, okay, good." They lay back together, the sky painting itself brighter above them, dreams still clinging like morning mist. Ed yawned long and loud, curling like a happy giant child. Double D's eyes fluttered. The world was soft, gentle, safe. Eddy stared at the sky until his eyes drooped, never fully admitting how warm this felt, how right, but sinking into it all the same. And slowly, quietly, the three drifted to sleep. Childhood champions, dream explorers, friends forever and a half. The cul-de-sac didn't need to say goodnight, because it was always watching, always holding them, keeping their laughter, their dreams, their tiny, huge hearts. And as the first sunbeam kissed the hill, and the world began to wake, the EDs slept peacefully, safe in the cradle of morning light, knowing tomorrow would come, with more silliness, more adventures, and more forever. For in childhood, forever is real. And friends like these, they never fade. They simply dream. Together. Shh. Breathe soft now, sleepy friend. The story has curled to a warm, gentle close. And just like the EDs resting under that early sunrise sky, you too are safe, cozy. Held by the quiet of night, your heart is calm and your mind is soft. You made it through another day. And you deserve this peace. Sleepy Toons is here with you, always whispering comfort, wrapping you in story and stillness, letting your imagination rest in a world that loves you just the way you are. You are cherished. You are enough. You are never alone in these sleepy adventures. Now close your eyes. Let dreams drift in like morning mist. Let your breathing fall into that slow, gentle rhythm and feel the night cradle you softly. Sleepy Toons loves you, and we'll dream again together soon. Good night, sweet dreamer. Rest deeply, rest safely, rest with love. Good night.